And we welcome you to the Michigan International Speedway. This is a demanding course for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, where you must rely on a great performance from your driver. No rough, no water, no sand. But if you drive out of bounds here, there is no mulligan.
It's hard to stand, baby. I know it's tough out there.
Blocking, ducking, diving. Incredible racing. Junior, you're hurting. Look at that smile. To the lead in Indianapolis. Here comes the road course king. Stewart's going to win.
UPS set to deliver at Darlington. He got him on his feet. He win.
Jeff Gordon brings the car back into turn 3 looking for the checkered flag. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double shot is out.
TNT Sports presents the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Today, it's the Pepsi 400, live from the Michigan International Speedway. This wide 2-mile track offers the one key element essential to great racing: speed. But to find that speed, you must have a great setup, because any slip-up could leave you with a pulverized race car. And the painful memory that racing is not just about how fast you go, it's also about how fast you stop when something goes wrong. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Michigan International Speedway. Bill Weber on the TNT War Wagon, right alongside pit road for the Pepsi 400, the first of 4 consecutive NASCAR Winston Cup races right here on TNT. The big story coming in, Jeff Gordon going for the hat trick. He has back-to-back wins, an impressive 194-point lead in the race to the championship, by far the largest lead this season. And, of course, he won a thriller here in June. My buddy Benny Parsons, he's already made his way to the booth, and you know why. Yup, rain is a distinct possibility this afternoon. So once again, the green flag has been moved up to 2:01 Eastern Time, less than 30 minutes from now. That means we do the condensed conversion of the pre-race show. That means I take most of these and do that, and simply say, here's Marty Snyder.
Well, Bill, this ought to be interesting, riding around the track with Jeff Gordon in a pickup truck, and everybody wants to hand you the championship. Last time I checked, there were 14 races to go. I'm sorry, did I miss something, Jeff?
No, you didn't miss anything. That's the same thing we've been saying. You know, we got a long ways to go, a lot of racing left, and, you know, this is a great racetrack, a lot of good racetracks for us, but we got to stay out of trouble. We got to make sure we don't make mistakes, and, you know, just got to keep doing our jobs, and we still got a long way to go before it's all over.
This is pretty cool riding around the track and fun, isn't it?
Wow, man, there's a lot of you know, avid fans, especially here up in Michigan, and we're thankful for them. So you'll enjoy the ride with us, won't you?
Yeah, I'll enjoy it. Jeff Gordon starts 13th today. That's not a bad thing. Last time he started 13th last week, and he won, Dave Burns.
And Marty, the 32 car of Ricky Craven is on the pole today. It's his 4th top 5 start in the last 6 races as he gets introduced to all the dignitaries right here on the checkered flag victory lane. And he hopes he's here later, but to back up that great qualifying run, you haven't had the best of finishes here, Ricky. How do you do it?
Well, we got to work on that. And the biggest thing is track position. You can't afford to give it up. We're starting with it. And I'm just really excited about today. We were a top 10 car yesterday in practice. We've been a top 10 car the last month, and I feel like we can finish top 10.
All right, he's going to go for it today. He's going to try to ride the tide of a resurgent year that he's been having. Matt?
For the 12th time in his career, Bill Elliott will start on the front row at Michigan, unveiling new Dodge Ram truck paint scheme, trying to bust through with Dodge's first win since 1977, Bill. You're on the front row starting second. How about it? Do you have the car that can go to victory lane? You've been fast on Friday. How about on Sunday?
Well, that's where it's going to count. I mean, today's going to be the part. I guess tomorrow, from what I see, it's going to be how the weather's going to affect these deals, and hope we got the setup under the car to do it. But we'll see what happens with this Dodge.
He hasn't won in Winston Cup since 1994. The last time a Dodge won here at Michigan, Bill Elliott was still waiting another 6 months to begin his Winston Cup career.
Bill? Thanks, Matt. Now, last Sunday in the Global Crossing at the Glen, an onboard fire eliminated Robbie Gordon from contention on lap 59. He had led 13 of those laps and in a good car was clearly in contention for the win. Earlier this week, Roush Industries delivered their preliminary report on that fire to NASCAR. Roush Industries and a fire origin expert examined several aspects of the fire that eliminated Robbie Gordon's car from the race. A 6-page report for NASCAR was summed up by the following opinion from Roush Engineering. The fire originated in the lithium battery pack that has powered the in-vehicle telemetry system and onboard cameras used all this year by NBC, TNT, Fox, FX, and NASCAR. The root cause of the fire remains undetermined at this time. The analysis by Roush will continue. Until this weekend, the telemetry boxes were mandatory. Today, they're optional.
We're, certainly looking into the situation that happened at Watkins Glen, and there's a different type of battery this week, but we think that the teams need to have confidence in that before we tell them that they have to do it.
In the Pepsi 400, 10 teams will carry onboard cameras. 31 will use the in-vehicle telemetry box. 7 will use both. The system now uses a combination of alkaline batteries and nickel metal hydride batteries. A handful of teams with the option of carrying the onboard electronics, understandably, will not.
It's just really a precautionary measure we're taking. We think it's real important that we have the cameras in the cars so we give the race fans can see an insight and get more inside the sport. But for this week, we're just going to take a break. NASCAR's real understanding with teams that want to run it and teams that don't want to run it.
Every race, every car for this whole season, and all of a sudden just one problem. So the chances are so remote of it happening again. But in our case, that one is too many.
Unfortunately, nothing can be done to repair the disappointment suffered by the Lowe's team last Sunday at the Glen.
If you've been in this business as long as I have, things are going to happen like it. And I'll assure you, no one felt worse about it than the people at NBC and with NASCAR. It's just one of those deals. We all regrouped and we come into Michigan on a different day and running another race.
Well, Robbie Gordon is not racing today. Mike Skinner is back in the Lowe's Chevy, but Robbie is working and joins us from his race shop in Mooresville, North Carolina. Robbie, thanks so much for joining us. And first of all, from all of us in the TV compound and certainly the guys in the garage, we can't tell you how sorry we are about what happened last week. I'm sure it was a tough couple of days for you.
Not really. I mean, it's racing, and you can't really dwell over things like this. I mean, I just haven't had the best of luck lately. It was a good opportunity to drive the Lowe's Chevrolet for Richard Childress, and we had some good runs in it. Unfortunately, we didn't get into victory lane, so that's the only disappointment.
Tell me about that car during the race last Sunday. Obviously, it was pretty strong.
It was really strong, actually. We had a deal that we weren't going to lead all the laps. We were just going to ride around and pace guys, make sure I didn't use the brakes. I went by and looked at the car on Monday, and the car, it doesn't have a scratch on it. It had a lot of brakes left on it. And the team was really doing a good job. And we tested there, and we were stout. But unfortunately, luck didn't play into our hand.
Was that maybe the best car, Winston Cup car you've had in a road course?
Well, that team runs very good race teams. All their cars are competitive. All the teams win there. So, it would have been nice to get Lowe's their first win in Winston Cup and get Royce McGee a win right before he had his baby. Just would have been a lot of fun.
Robbie, you started the season in the 4 car. You've picked up some other rides along the way. Very impressive last Sunday. I know you want back in this series. What is your future as far as racing is concerned?
Well, I actually miss being at the racetrack. I love it out there. That's what I like to do, and sitting at home on the weekends isn't fun. So, I'll take opportunities that'll be good. I think I need to be careful on what opportunities I take. I've made my decision. I want to race Winston Cup, so we'll just have to see what happens the next couple weeks.
Well, Robbie, thanks for joining us on a Sunday afternoon. I hope you enjoy this race today, and we look forward to seeing you back at the track real soon.
Thanks. Hey, I understand about the TV thing, and I feel sorry for the fans because I think it's pretty neat when you can see the 2 cars, how far they're apart and who's gaining and when they're not. So, I understand it's racing.
We appreciate that, and thanks for carrying the equipment last week as well. Robbie Gordon, disappointed last week, but hoping to be back in the Winston Cup Series very soon. We'll be back to Michigan in a moment.
The Pepsi 400 pre-race on TNT is brought to you by the Joy of Pepsi and by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR, CART, and NHRA.
And welcome back to Michigan. A slight mist is now falling here at the track. Temperature about 73 degrees. Rain is in the forecast. We are hoping to get the Pepsi 400 in its entirety this afternoon. And we're looking forward to a great battle. But wait a minute. This isn't war. This is racing. If you want to talk about war, you should talk to former Winston Cup car owner Bud Moore. Bud Moore Engineering won 63 Winston Cup races. That's 7th on the all-time list. But Bud Moore had an even bigger victory. Jim Huber has the story of a decorated soldier and a man who shines as the pride of NASCAR.
It was D-Day, 1944, when Bud Moore's life, just freshly 19 years old, gained its greatest perspective, when whatever he might see or feel, taste or hear or smell for the rest of his years would be judged by the weight of that thunderous morning. And he would be among the fortunate who would have the chance at a later life, for all around him that morning as the thousands of craft, large and small, unloaded on the shores of France. Indiscriminate death.
It was a hectic deal for me and all the other guys that was there, and I'm real thankful to the Lord that I got to come back, and there was so many of my friends that didn't even get off the beach. It was a show, I'll tell you this, to see all the way everything was being blown up and stuff like this. The biggest problem, you know, was when that front of that boat went down, you had to either get off or drown one.
The red-headed farm boy from South Carolina used that second chance at life to become one of the most successful mechanics, crew chiefs, and owners in NASCAR history. But not a day goes by, even now, when he's not reminded. His body, wounded enough over those days to earn him 5 Purple Hearts, tells him.
I got hit with shrapnel several times, and they'd send me down to the aid station, and they'd pick that shrapnel out of me and put a little methylate and a Band-Aid on me and send me right back. And I said, some way or another, they aim to get me one way or the other, you know. But
piece by piece, right?
Piece by piece, but I was thanking the good Lord that I made it through, and I got back.
Occasionally there are other moments. This was the leather pouch in which he carried his life during that war. He hadn't looked inside in decades.
Let's see what's in here. I can't remember.
Oh, get these messed up. There you go.
That was my company when we went overseas, right there.
Wonder how many came back.
There was a lot of them left, I'll put it that way. Let's go.
Bud Moore has been retired now to his farm in Spartanburg, South Carolina for 2 seasons, though his last serious year racing was 1996. His roster of drivers over 4 decades is like a racing hall of fame. Joe Weatherly, Bobby Allison, Curtis Turner, Buddy Baker, Cale Yarborough, Dale Earnhardt, Ricky Rudd, Jeff and Brett Bodine, among the 33 men who have strapped into Moore engineering machines and won over $11 million. He has seen them all spin and flip, crash and win. But that one horrendous morning 57 years ago, when he lost men on either side of him for hours, gave the rest of his life a very steady balance.
The war taught a lot of the guys and the peoples over there the fact that, you know, you got a job to do and you try to do it the best you can. And number 2 is in life, when we came back from over there, we had set our minds on what we were going to do and how we were going to do. And the same way when I got into racing, my idea was that to win races, whatever it took, it didn't make any difference.
And Bud Moore built some beautiful race cars back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I had one of my best years driving for Bud Moore in 1981. Won 3 NASCAR Winston Cup races. Thank you, Bud Moore. Bill Weber.
And thank you, Benny. Bud Moore is a NASCAR legend, and like so many veterans, he will always be remembered as an American hero. We'll be back to Michigan in a moment.
The Pepsi 400 pre-race on TNT is brought to you by Wendy's. Race through Wendy's late night pickup window where you can eat great, even late.
400 miles of racing here at the Michigan International Speedway today. Hours of preparation for these multi-million-dollar teams. And you know what? It could all come down to $5 worth of gas. Wally Dallenbach explains.
When you come to a big, fast, wide racetrack like here at Michigan, fuel mileage can be a factor on who gets to victory lane. As a driver, there's not much you can really do. One thing is, go out and find a drafting partner. You find a guy you can run with as long as possible, that's going to help my fuel mileage a little bit. Secondly, when I drive into that corner, I'm going to roll off that throttle just a little bit sooner. When I get back on the throttle, I'm going to wait just a little bit longer. That's going to help my fuel mileage as well. As a driver, we're not programmed to do that. We want to run the car as hard as we can. That's like you, the fan, being in a 65-mile-per-hour zone and having to drive 55. That's tough to do.
So many important ingredients decide the outcome each week. Extra important if you want to remain in the race to the championship.
Gentlemen, start your engine. And Jared just spun down in the dirt. The leader is in the dirt pile in turn one.
Run to second. Gordon pushing him up through the S's. Here comes the road course king.
Ricky Rudd has got problems. He's overheating. Water is coming out the back of the car, out the overflow.
Jeff Gordon becomes a three-time winner of the Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis.
Jared just spun down in the dirt. And the caution flag is out because he's stuck. Cannot get out of there. Oh, my goodness.
Jeff Gordon, second win in a row, and he takes his 7th road course victory, winning here at Watkins Glen.
TNT Sports presents the Pepsi 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series from the Michigan International Speedway. The 23rd race of the season. Jeff Gordon won here in June. He's looking for the sweep. And now here is the command.
In those magic words of motorsports, here's our Grand Marshal, Michigan Lieutenant Governor Dick Posthumus. Gentlemen, start your engine!
And now the first of 4 straight Winston Cup races on TNT. And here are 3 guys that really know drama, especially when it comes to picking up the dinner check. Alan Bestwick, Benny Parsons, and Wally Dallenbach.
Don't make me come down there, Weber. We'll get back for you on that. Afternoon, folks. Welcome to our coverage of the Pepsi 400 here at the Michigan International Speedway, a track that is absolutely one of the drivers' favorite places to race, and with good reason.
I love to watch a weekend here at the Michigan Speedway and watch how the scenarios unfold. First of all, do they have the engine that's good enough to win? Enough power and reliability. Driver team on Friday and Saturday trying to work together to get that team, to get that car perfect. And then pit stops on Sunday afternoon. Everyone has to be just perfect because we know track position means so much. But while the race is going on that 400 miles, the driver, if his car is not fast enough, looking around, searching, trying to find that fast way, that groove around the racetrack to try to get him to victory lane.
Always a lot of fun and a lot of drama in these events. Wally, let's talk about drama where the weather is concerned. We've talked about already showers in the area. We had a torrential downpour last night that washed all the rubber off the racetrack. That's got to be giving the drivers and teams fits.
Like Bunny said, it's so important to get the setup, but really that was thrown all out the window with the rain last night. What you have is a green racetrack. If you look on the left, that's yesterday. That's grip. today, a lot of that grip was washed away with the rain. So a lot of teams are out there this morning saying, well, do we keep the setups we have and hope to get the first pit stop and adjust, or do we second guess ourselves? So I think you're going to see some cars in the front go to the back, some guys in the back go to the front, and then everybody scramble on the pit stops.
And everybody scrambles when we get close to halfway and see what the weather does, and will the race go at scheduled distance? Boy, we got a lot of things in the mix this afternoon here in Michigan. Don't go away. The start of the Pepsi 400 is next on TNT. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Winston Cup race. Ricky Craven, the last of 45 cars to run, stole the Bud Pole away from Bill Elliott on Friday, the 12th different driver to set fast time this year. And let's take a look at the Walmart starting grid for today's Pepsi 400. Craven and Elliott sharing the front row. Elliott, a 7-time Michigan winner, is today Dodge's day. Row number 2, it's Ricky Rudd, who's finished second here the last 2 straight races, and Elliott Sadler equaling his career best start. Row 3, John Andretti with 4 Michigan top 10s in the Petty Dodge, and Casey Atwood, the only rookie to qualify in the top 10. 4th row, Michael Waltrip's lined up there. He'll be dropping to the back of the field. He crashed that car they qualified. In happy hour, he's in a backup. Row 5, the Joe Gibbs Racing Pontiacs. Bobby Labonte, a 3-time Michigan winner, and Tony Stewart, the winner here in June a year ago. 6th row, Jason Leffler equaled his best Winston Cup qualifying in the 11th spot, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., who scored more points than anyone else the last 6 races. 7th row, Jeff Gordon trying for the hat trick, the 3rd straight win, and 5-time Michigan winner, Rusty Wallace.
Let's try talking to Rusty Wallace. Rusty, this is Benny Parsons. You got me?
Sure do, Benny. Go ahead.
You know, I read the other day that you said Michigan Speedway is one of your favorite tracks. Why is that?
Well, I've won here 5 times. I like how big it is and how wide it is. It's just always, I think it's a racer's favorite racetrack. I like it a lot up here.
All right, how was the car yesterday? Can you win today?
A real fast car yesterday. We can win today. We just got to have everything fall in place.
And Robin and the boys got to make those good pit stops today, huh?
Those guys, they have some good pit stops, and they've been having them all year long, so I'm pretty confident they're going to win your $100 a day.
What about the weather? Have you guys been checking that radar?
Yeah, we sure have. There's not much we can do about it. It's going to be in and out today, but I think closer to the end of the race, we'll probably be out of here.
All right, good luck to you.
Thanks a lot.
Rusty Wallace starting in 14th. You want to explain that?
It sounds like everybody's after your $100 today.
Oh,
we didn't know that was the whole field, BP.
Oh, man.
Well, explain it. Go ahead.
Well, I told all the guys, I told Ryan Newman's crew yesterday in the Busch race, if they made a pit stop under 13 seconds, I'd give them $100 apiece. Well, we said that on the air yesterday, and all those guys down inside were watching the race, and as I walked through this morning, hey, BP, how about us? So I said, okay, anything under 13 seconds.
It's an expensive day. The BP Challenge is out in the garage. We'll be watching those pit stop times very carefully. 2 drivers failed to qualify for the Pepsi 400. Buckshot Jones with only 1 to his seat this week. And David Keith did not make the race. Let's get some final stories from Pit Road. Here's Marty Snyder.
You know, Alan, recently the Dodgers got a little rule change, a 2-inch kick out on the front valence, and that was good because it gave them more front downforce, but bad because it threw their cars out of balance. But now they've had 2 weeks to tweak the rule, and the Dodgers are more prepared than ever to take advantage. Chief among them, Sterling Marlin. He finished 3rd here in June with the car he's driving today. 2nd at Indy with the same car, and guess what? Sterling just told me. Car's even better this weekend. With their new nose on, the Dodge teams are very close to victory. In fact, they said they're so close, they can smell it, Liz.
Tony Stewart is sporting a little something new this weekend. How about some crutches? He has a new 6-month-old Welsh Corgi, PJ. They were playing chase in his front yard. Went to step over PJ, fell down on the front step of his home. He said that fans don't worry because it will not hinder his performance today. Just another day in the office. Matt?
The last time Dale Jarrett won a race in Michigan, he also went on to win the championship. DJ's championship desire still burns bright, but his window of opportunity in 2001 is quickly closing. He used up his championship mulligans over the past 3 weeks and finishes the 41st and 31st. And with Bristol and Talladega, 2 racetracks that can quickly eat up points looming large in the schedule, DJ can't afford any more mistakes. He's looking for a rebound in the title chase, looking for momentum here in Michigan. Dave?
Hey, Matt, Marty mentioned the rule change to the Dodge is working well for Sterling Marlin. It is not working well for Dave Blaney. He qualified 4th and finished 8th here when they raced in June. They brought the same car, the same setup, and he was bad. He actually entered the field 41st today. I talked to Dave, and he said it's loose in the center of the corner, and part of the problem is that balance on their Dodges because of the new rule. Alan?
Well, Dave, we were supposed to be coming around to the green flag, but there are some raindrops hitting the window on the front of the broadcast booth and the windshields of the race cars and the camera lens you see right there. So we're not going green this time. We are going to take a commercial break. We'll be back to Michigan in a minute. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
The Pepsi 400 from Michigan International Speedway on TNT, brought to you by the joy of Pepsi. By Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood. Applebee's. By Dodge and the nearly 3,000 dealers who invite you to come see what's new. And by the Home Depot, the official home improvement warehouse of NASCAR.
At the Michigan International Speedway, some raindrops peppering the windshields of the pace car and race cars out on the track, so we are not yet set to start the Pepsi 400. Though the cars are being kept out on the racetrack, you see the very ominous skyline there. Very ominous. But a lot of that is off beyond the racetrack. It's just really lightly peppering us here. Weather forecast you see calls for some showers throughout the day. And the air temperature fairly cool as far as race conditions are concerned. So while we wait out the decision as to whether to let it eat or stop them, let's go down to pit road. Here's Matt Yoakum.
Alan, during the final practice session on Saturday, Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the first time wore the Hutchins device. This morning, he told me he was going to wear it again today. He liked it. He said there were some things he would like to change about it. As you can see, putting it on before he climbed into his race car for the 400-miler here today in Michigan. It was in his truck for about this past 6 or 7 races. Finally, Jeff Burton talked him into wearing it. He said he would wear it this weekend, probably make some changes and adjustments to it for comfort for next week. But he gave it a big thumbs up at this juncture, Alan. Liz?
You know that most of the drivers out here are wearing some type of head and neck restraint system. This race last year only had one driver, Brett Bodine, who started wearing some type of system last year in Pocono. This particular race this year has at least 35 drivers wearing some type of head and neck system. So we can see that definitely the word's getting to these guys, and it seems to be something that is high on their priority list. Alan?
All right, Liz, thank you. Another NASCAR headline about to be made this coming week. Of course, it's been ongoing for quite some time. But on Tuesday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, NASCAR will report to the press and public its findings in the investigation that's been ongoing since February, the accident that claimed the life of Dale Earnhardt. That'll happen on Tuesday afternoon in Atlanta at 3 Eastern Time. CNN Sports Illustrated will provide live coverage, and we'll have follow-up coverage for you next weekend when we get to Bristol here on TNT.
And I tell you what, I think that most everyone in auto racing just can't wait to see what NASCAR's report is going to say and how the drivers and teams are going to receive it and try to fix their cars to make it better for the competitors.
Yeah, last week at Watkins Glen, a lot of the drivers, a lot of teams were asked to, speculate about some of the findings and things, and a lot of us said, hey, until we hear what the official investigation has to say, we don't want to comment on anything. So you're right, Ben. Everybody's pretty anxious to see what the findings are.
And I think the important thing is not just the findings in what happened in the crash in February, but what to do about it from here. That's the most important thing to learn on Tuesday.
How we can prevent it. And, Junior putting on the Hutchins device. I just want to go down and hug his neck and say, attaboy, put those things, if there's something out there that we think is safer, use it.
Got a windshield wiper handy?
Gonna need one, aren't we?
Yeah. So they're still motoring around behind the pace car, hoping this little shower will stop. We'll come back to Michigan in a minute on TNT.
Can't fight the need for speed. I'm loose, I'm clean, I'm burning red and green.
NASCAR on TNT is at the Michigan International Speedway, where we are trying to get the Pepsi 400 underway. Just as the cars rolled off onto the track on their parade and pace laps, some raindrops began peppering the windshields and camera lenses, and we're still parading around behind the pace car, hoping this will blow off and we can get on going.
And as you can see, there's not a lot of rain out there, but enough that NASCAR just can't start the race without it. All right, let's try to talk to Jeff Burton. Jeff, Benny Parsons, you got me?
Bud, how you doing?
Doing okay. Last night there was torrential rain in the area. Did you and Frankie make changes to the race car this morning because of the weather?
We did. We're pretty sure the track will be different to start, and then it'll probably get back just like it was. So we're hoping that we made the right changes to get us through the first stop, and then we'll have to start taking that stuff back out.
How was your car yesterday afternoon?
We were pretty good. We were a little bit too loose, and we're thinking that'll probably be worse. I tell you, the issue right now is we're burning fuel and not making laps, so this could change the race quite a bit.
As far as the race strategy is concerned, you know, Frankie, we talked to him a couple of weeks ago and asked him, could he make it on one more stop? And he said, no, he can. You know he lied to us. You know that, don't you, Jeff?
Yeah, he was lying then, but I'm pretty sure we can make it on one more stop from here. And you can believe me, can't you?
Oh, yeah, I believe you. Yes, sir. One more stop, 250 miles, 200 miles. Yeah, you can make it.
We're just want this rain to get out of here so we can do some racing. We've worked real hard. All these teams and all the fans are here to see some racing, and we're ready to go. Rain's a bad thing.
Is it still sprinkling?
That is. It's worse in 3 and 4. It's about cleared up in 1 and 2. It started raining with about when they were getting ready to get 1 to go in 3 and 4, and it's pretty much stayed like that. 1 and 2 is pretty clear. 3 and the track's not wet though. If it quits sprinkling, I think we can get going pretty quick.
Well, good luck to you.
Jeff Burton, we were referencing Frankie Stoddard, his crew chief. Jeff scheduled to start in 16th position. Now let's talk about that fuel thing that he brought up. Under the rules, you're not allowed to make a pit stop and put fuel into the car before the green flag. But we have seen a situation before where NASCAR, you know, in these rain drying situations, has allowed the teams to come down pit road and fuel them up before we go.
Here's the problem. Not a lot of caution flags at Michigan Speedway. So say this thing were to go green the entire distance. That means you have to run 100 miles each stop, or you've got to stop an extra time. Well, now with all the parade laps that these cars are running, I don't see any way that they can run that first 50 miles. They're going to have to stop short, and then a car with really good fuel mileage would have to go to that next 50-lap segment.
And right now they've run 8 laps behind the pace car under the caution.
Which is about like running 4 laps under the green flag.
Down to pit road, Bill Weber.
Well, Alan, we talked about Jeff Gordon coming into this race, how he'd won back-to-back races. Well, the guy that is second in points starting third on the grid. Of course, he finished second to Jeff Gordon here in June and finished second here to Rusty Wallace 1 year ago. So today, Ricky Rudd gets another chance. And with Ricky Rudd's crew chief, Michael McSwain, Ricky's second here in June, second here a year ago. Can you get him to victory lane today?
Yeah, we had a real good car and happy hour here today. Real happy with the way it did. Made a few minor changes for the weather and the rain all night last night. I think we'll be pretty good today.
You going to tell us about those changes?
Nah, I'd rather wait till tomorrow to tell you about them.
Okay, I'll look forward to that. Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Michael McSwain, crew chief for Ricky Rudd. 43 cars getting closer to the green flag as we wait for the drizzle to end here at Michigan.
The signal has been given. One more lap and we will get the Pepsi 400 underway. Drivers cinched up and ready to go before the green. Let's get some final stories from pit road. Here's Marty.
Well, Alan, a big day for Mike Skinner. A little sore after the Busch race yesterday. 400 miles today. Remember, he has a banged-up knee and left ankle. David Smith, his team manager, how do you think Skinner's going to do physically?
Marty, I think he's going to be fine. He ran that 300 miles the Busch car yesterday. He got out his foot's tender. I mean, it's going to be sore for a little while longer, but, you know, he still felt well physically, and he was strong at the end of that race. We expect that today.
400 miles of testing for Mike Skinner today. To Matt Yoakum.
Skinner's teammate Kevin Harvick finished second in Saturday's Busch race. Kevin Hamlin, you were in that pit much of the day. What did you and your driver learn that can be put forward to today?
Todd and Kevin, you know, they had the AC Delco car running really well yesterday, and we worked on tire pressures a little bit, so we brought some of that over and tried it in the last practice in the Jim Goodrich Service Plus car, and it proved like it was going to work pretty good on our car too, so that's the direction we're going today with it. We'll just have to adjust all day according to the track conditions after the rain last night and then clouds in and out today.
A win by either Skinner or Harvick will make the 100th career win in NASCAR competition for owner Richard Childress. Dave?
Hey, Matt, we just wanted to say hi to Ron Hornaday's owner. That's A.J. Foyt. He's not here because he was watching his grandson, 17-year-old A.J., race a Silver Bullet car in Springfield last night. Unfortunately, he wrecked on his qualifying lap, but he was darn fast, and that's where A.J. Sr. started his career. So, A.J., thanks for watching today, and watch your car, Ron Hornaday.
200 laps for 400 miles here in Michigan. Some 136,000 on their feet. We are ready to start the Pepsi 400. Craven and Elliott side by side for the lead.
Ricky Rudd has chosen Bill Elliott as the car he thinks is going to come out of this with the lead.
Correct choice.
Ricky, you did real well there.
Elliott leads, Rudd second, Craven third. 3 deep. That's back for 10th.
Thank you, teammate. That was Jason. The 01 car was a teammate of the 40 car, and he just checked up and let him go.
Yeah, Jason Leffler and Sterling Marlin.
The track is slippery right now for these guys. They're really, I mean, they're running hard, but they're also being careful because of the lack of grip in the racetrack right now.
And look at Spencer drive up on the outside of the 01 car.
And they come to the start-finish line to start lap 3.
Challenge for the lead. Rudd on the inside of Elliott.
Not yet.
Not yet is right.
What the drivers love about this racetrack. It's wide, it's fast, it's forgiving. Rusty Wallace and Jeff Gordon, 12th spot. Is Dale Jr. going to make it 3 wide?
He would love to. I think he is right. Well, Rusty comes up the racetrack, kind of takes that option away.
See, when you're down there by yourself, how much track position you lose when they line up on the outside of you. When you're in that draft, it is so much faster than if you're down there by yourself. You're pushing all that air by yourself. Usually, you could lose 2 or 3 spots easily on the straightaway.
Wallace on the move again after Bobby Labonte for 11th. Bobby seemed like he had to wait on the gas for a while there.
A long time.
So Labonte falls back to 12th. Jeff Gordon 13th. Jimmy Spencer up to 14th. And Dale Jr. back to 15th. Look at all the trash.
They've been selling a lot of hot dogs around here, it looks like.
I guess.
That would be the wrappers for the hot dogs. Jeff Gordon about to lose another spot.
Yep. He sure is. Spencer on the move down low.
Not so fast, BP.
Well, oh, look at here.
3 wide. Gordon dives.
And Jeff Gordon is desperately trying to get by these cars and get some clean racetrack. You see there's a nice, but boy, that didn't work too well. But he wanted up there in front of these cars. We saw a nice 100-yard gap of clean racetrack. He wanted that clean air over that 24 car.
Aerial views today here in Michigan, courtesy of the United States Army, an army of one.
Here's a classic example. Once they start running the rubber in this racetrack, you see there are 3 different lines. Bobby Labonte was right down on the bottom. Jeff was in the middle. Spencer was high. And you'll see a lot of cars starting to work the very bottom of that racetrack. And if you can do that and get away with it, you're going to be really fast here today.
Looked a little close with Dale Jr. making the crossover move behind Bobby. Ricky Rudd has peaked underneath Bill Elliott a couple of times, but as you can see, has yet been able to make the move.
There's a car right there. The 28 car normally will run on the bottom of the racetrack here.
Let's see if it works.
May not be quite enough rubber down there yet, but give it about 15 or 20 laps. Another guy that likes to run down there is a 20 car, Tony Stewart.
Bill Elliott, a 7-time Michigan winner. Out in front. Is today Dodge's day? A lot of folks in the garage think it might be. And this might be the man to do it. I talked with Bill this morning. He was not all that thrilled with the way his car was performing. He said that 2-inch kick out on the nose that's given them more front downforce has made it hard to get the back end of the car to stick the way he wants it to.
Yeah, but here at Michigan, your car will get tighter during the race. So that will play to his advantage.
So after 10 laps behind the pace car, due to a rain shower, we're underway here in Michigan. Elliott, Rudd, Craven, Andretti, and Atwood are the top 5. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. New leader here in Michigan in the Pepsi 400. Ricky Rudd has just slipped by Bill Elliott and assumed the top spot. Now Elliott has fallen back into the clutches of Ricky Craven, who's trying to get him for second spot. Here's how the pass happened a lap ago.
Here you see just 28 car pull down underneath. Going to take that low line. Bill May gave him a little bit of help there on the throttle, but 28 car is awfully strong at this racetrack. Yates has got big power. They come off the corners very strong. That really helps when you try to run the low groove.
Ricky Rudd has finished second here the last 2 straight events in Michigan. He's out front early today.
Another guy that's got Yates powers, that 32 car, Ricky Craven. He's running awfully good right now.
And Wally, his car getting better and better every lap. Was too tight early, too tight in, then too tight off, then too tight all the way around. But it seems to be coming to him as we run laps here at Michigan.
Actually, Bill, he's moved up the racetrack a little bit, trying to get some more grip on the top of the racetrack, and that seems to have really helped on that tight situation.
We're at the point now where the rubber's into the racetrack enough that we're past the issue you were talking about at the top of the race?
Nah, not quite. Probably on the higher grooves, because most of the cars are running the higher groove, but it's going to take probably about another 10, 15 laps to get that bottom groove right down on the bottom a little bit better.
Let's get more on the race leader from Matt Yoakum.
Alan, before the race, engine builder Doug Yates reminded his driver, Ricky Rudd, about turning too many RPMs on sticker tires. They're turning almost 9,200. He said, wait till some of the tires wear off, watch the RPMs. Well, then Ricky made a great move down this 3,600-foot front straightaway, took the lead. I walked over and asked Doug, I said, did you tell him before the race about the RPMs? He says, yes, obviously he didn't remember.
Driver's not going to limit those RPMs.
The engine builders right now are getting a blessing because the front straightaway is much longer than the back, so that's where they turn the excessive RPMs. But now they have a headwind going down the front stretch, blowing right on the nose of the race cars, which will slow them down maybe a couple hundred RPMs, maybe enough that some of them will not lose an engine today.
Fifth place, Sterling Marlin just took it away from John Andretti. And here comes Rusty Wallace on Andretti for sixth.
And you see the race chase that Andretti's only 4 seconds behind the leader. Sterling Marlin now a little over 3.5 seconds behind the leader, Ricky Rudd.
And Marlin started back in 15th position, 17 laps. He's up into the top 5.
Car looked awfully good yesterday in happy hour, the 40 car of Sterling Marlin. He, especially on the tires as they got worn out, he still could turn that car down the bottom of the racetrack. That's big here.
Remember, Sterling almost won the race here at Michigan back in June.
Talking to Tony Glover, the crew chief team manager on this 40 car this morning, and he said he wanted to come up on the war wagon with Bill Weber. I said, well, next week at Bristol, we might have a good excuse for you to come up and talk to Bill Weber.
Yeah. Plus, we'll be in his home state next week. Glover's from Tennessee.
Kingsport, Tennessee.
Yes, sir. Can't wait for Bristol. That's next weekend here on TNT. One of the highlights of the season. Here's Dale Jarrett, another one that's been on the move early. DJ started back in 17th place. He's up to 9th now and working Jimmy Spencer to get 8th. Talk about a guy that needs to have a good day. 2 trips to the gravel pit at Watkins Glen last Sunday.
And rest assured that the team, Todd Parrott, Robert Yates, and entire team for the 88 car, the Ups car, will definitely get 100% from their driver today. He's trying to make up for those 2 trips to the gravel pit last week.
Dale's fallen 265 points behind Jeff Gordon. And Dale says it's been happening to him a lot lately. People have been walking up, standing in front of him and holding their breath. You know, the commercial with the little kid saying, I'm going to hold my breath till they run the truck.
Well, if he'd drive the truck, he could probably get away with, you know, they probably wouldn't do that.
Talked with Dale Jarrett about the championship earlier this weekend, and he told us why he doesn't believe the race for the title is over yet.
Anything can happen here. I mean, obviously, if Jeff performs at the level they've been performing at for the majority of the year, you know, we're not going to catch them. We have to have them to have some problems somewhere along the way. But we have to do our job. We can't be concerned, and if everybody wants to hand it to them, and if they think they've got it, then let everybody think that. But we have to get back to doing our job. You know, we've run well. We just don't have the finishes here lately to show exactly how good we've been doing, and we've got to get back to that and trying to win some more races.
They don't. The 24 team does not believe they have this championship won by any means. Way too many races. All you need is 1 or 2 bad finishes, and you've lost the lead in the championship. So,
if we're after Talladega, then we can start thinking about if he's got a 200-point lead. At that point, we might start to, oh boy, he's got this thing won. But right now, you're right, Walter. Way too many races to be run yet.
And Bristol's a wild card too.
Oh, that's true.
Anything can happen. Let's go to Marty.
Well, guys, Jeff Gordon's car is not that good right now. It's kind of actually not to his liking. Loose and tied off is Jeff Gordon's car. But we've seen this movie before. Remember Indianapolis, Robbie Loomis and Jeff Gordon made some great decisions in the pits. The car was not good early. They made it good late in the race. They're already talking about adjustments for Jeff Gordon's car, but definitely not to his liking right now.
And this the driver and team that led 143 of 200 laps here in June from the pole for the win. Right now, Jeff Gordon back in 12th position, 22 laps into 200 that make up today's Pepsi 400. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Welcome back to the Michigan International Speedway, where Ricky Rudd continues to lead the Pepsi 400 off the back-to-back second-place finishes at this track. Just a little bit deeper in the field, but not much. You'll find the 1 car, the Pennzoil Chevrolet of Steve Park. Another great run for him, coming off a solid performance last week at Watkins Glen. He also finished 7th in this same car at Indianapolis. For Park so far, from 27th to 10th and moving forward
forward in the field. Steve Park in recent weeks has shown a lot of muscle. The big question for this team, fuel mileage. They don't believe they can get to lap 50 without having to pit for fuel. To Matt Yoakum.
Jimmy Spencer started 18th. He's climbed to 8th. The biggest thing about Spencer, he was snug in the center of the corner down low, so he moved up high trying the higher line to free up his race car. So far, it has worked. To date.
And Bobby Hamilton does not like his practice motors in his car, and that's why he was only about 35th best in practice, and he qualified very poorly. But he told me before the race, my race motors are great, and we are, quote, pretty darn good. I'll say he is. He moved all the way up to 20th, and Bobby Hamilton right now is another one who's charging toward the front.
Great race here for 6th place. Rusty Wallace trying to get by John Andretti. You saw Dale Jarrett shuffle by Jimmy Spencer. And there's Steve Park closing in.
We see Jimmy Spencer. He's running much higher than any of the other cars. Through the corners, Rusty Wallace's spotter telling him he's clear of the 43 car. He could move up when he came off.
Rusty's picked up 8 spots since the green. Started in 14th. He's up to 6th. Here comes Dale Jarrett.
Now it looks like right there John's car is a little bit tight. He had to get out of the throttle quite a bit earlier than the other cars around him. The reason for that, car wouldn't turn.
Change for second. Looks like a wave by to me.
There's the wave.
Car still trying his best to get by the 43 of John Andretti.
This is 7th place. Well, maybe not so fast back up here at the old runner-up spot.
I said Jimmy Spencer was running higher than anyone else. I'm not sure that's true because it looks like Craven is really up on top of the track.
What a great racetrack to race, though. When you can race like that side by side, there's room for 3 there. But I mean, it's a nice, smooth, wide racetrack. Great place for the drivers to run.
So Craven to 2nd, Elliott back to 3rd. You can see they've fallen a good bit behind Ricky Rudd, 2.5 back from him. That's Rudd kind of riding off into the distance up front of them. And behind them, a pretty good distance back to Casey Atwood, who runs in 4th.
And it really doesn't matter which line that you run here at the Michigan Speedway. You use just about all the racetrack in doing that. Because if you've got to go in the corners up high. They're very, very high, and then you can stay up there or take the car down the bottom of the racetrack. But when you come off and accelerate under power, you've got to go up, right up against that outside retaining wall. As I said, it just takes all the racetrack, no matter what line that you run.
64 miles into the Pepsi 400 at Michigan. Ricky Rudd is the leader. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Early in the Pepsi 400 at the Michigan International Speedway, Ricky Rudd, the leader, has caught the tail end of the field. He puts the 43rd place runner Rick Mast 1 lap down. Caution free so far, though we were delayed by about 10 pace laps due to a little sprinkle that came across the track, so the cars ran 10 laps behind the pace car. It'll make the first pit stops a little bit earlier. Yesterday here at Michigan, Ryan Newman with his first NASCAR Busch Series win, driving for Roger Penske. Best burnout I've ever seen at a racetrack. He did at the start-finish line after the race. Greg Biffle went out in a lap 6 crash. He lost a lot of ground to Kevin Harvick in the championship, with Jason Keller taking over the runner-up spots. That is our NASCAR Busch Series update.
Right now, Ricky Rudd has about a 2 1/3 second lead over Ricky Craven in the 32 car. Rudd still running right in the middle of the racetrack.
There are Craven and Elliott, 2nd and 3rd.
talking to the driver this morning in the garage area. They said, here's the problem. Going in the corner right there, the car felt like it was loose, like it wanted to spin out. But so if you got the car feeling comfortable there, right there in the middle of the corner, it wouldn't turn properly. It wanted to push. And on the throttle, it wanted to push. So trying to find the balance was so difficult. So you could get in the corner and yet not have too much push in the middle.
And you compound that by all the weather that washed all the rubber off the track overnight, and the rubber's getting put back on, and we've got sun, but then there'll be clouds, and then sun again. What a handful. Here's Hut Strickland, 16th place car on pit road. Marty, what's going on there?
Well, these guys were expecting some terrific things this weekend. Hut started 8th. He finished 6th here in June. This is by far his best racetrack, and they haven't had a top 10 since that big 6th place finish here in June. The problem for Hut is that he's tight, but that's not his biggest problem. His biggest problem is that he has a fuel pickup problem. He said when he goes back to the gas, it feels like it's running out of gas. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, trying to loosen his car up a little bit. But their bigger problem, again, is that fuel pickup situation. And that is a big situation when you get down to the end of a run and the fuel's gone, guys. It really poses a big problem.
Your money's safe there.
Money's real safe on those guys.
With that stop, Benny's $100 challenge that he issued because Ryan Newman's Busch Series crew was boasting at him that they could do a stop in, well, they said they could do in 11 seconds.
11 seconds, but I gave him a second.
Yeah.
I said, well, no, you can, if you're under 13 seconds, and I'll give each member goes across the wall $100.
And we started talking about it on the air during the Busch Series race yesterday and through the garage area this morning. Everybody wanted to find BP and know how much money he had on him today.
A lot of cars coming down pit road. Bill Weber, what's Steve Park doing in so early?
Benny, a lot of these guys are going to pit early here because they're concerned about fuel and the caution laps, even though you believe they'd be able to go a little bit further. Like, sent a note to Dave Charpentier earlier. He just shook his head. No way we can get to 50. Park's car's been very good. They do take tires, obviously. Ford make a chassis adjustment, fill it with fuel. Watch for some of these guys in the back to take 2 tires here early on the stop for track position. It helped Rusty Wallace get the victory lane here in this race 1 year ago.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s in. Andy Houston is in. Casey Atwood and Jimmy Spencer give up spots in the top 10.
All right, hustle right there, hustle right there. Both left side lines below the yellow line, left side.
Has possibly just lost an engine or something on his car. Smoke out the back.
Oh, it was smoke out the back? I thought maybe he might have run out of fuel.
And the 26 car, Jimmy Spencer in. Remember we told you he changed his line earlier. This will be a 4-tire stop for Spencer. Slight air pressure adjustment. He's down and away.
Spencer heads back out. Tony Stewart's in. Marty?
And Tony Stewart is in. His car is a little bit loose. They do a half round down on the track bar. That should tighten him up just a little bit. 4 tires for Tony Stewart. To Bill Weber.
Bill Elliott on pit road, 42 laps on the board. A chassis adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. The car a little too tight. Big day for Dodge, big day for Elliott. The track is on 12. Has to dodge Todd Bodine to get out of his pit stall. Dave Burns.
And now John Andretti is out. They made a track bar adjustment. He was very, very tight. He fell from 5th place starting spot to about 8th before he gave up that position to pit.
Second and third place cars coming in. Craven is on pit road. Sterling Marlin is on pit road.
Jeff Gordon is on pit road.
There's Craven heading to the attention of his crew. Marty?
And Ricky Craven is in. It will be a 4-tire stop. His car was a little bit tight. Jeff Gordon comes in right in front of him. Gordon is having problems. His car is loose in, tied off, although he does come in running 6. The left side tire is going off for Craven now. They will make a track bar adjustment for Jeff Gordon, and it'll be a 4-tire stop for Craven. He's back out on the racetrack. Now the left side tire for Jeff Gordon. Benny, I think your money may be in trouble here. A great stop going for Gordon, but a little trouble in the left front for Gordon. A little bit longer. I don't think they beat your time, Benny.
They did not. My money is plenty safe today, especially when these guys have to fill up the tank with fuel.
Leaders in.
Ricky Rudd relinquishes the lead for his first scheduled pit stop on lap 44. I talked to his crew chief, Michael Fatback McSwain. He says no adjustment. adjustments on the 28 car. Ricky is very happy as Bobby Burrell hits the lug nuts on the left front, and Rudd is down and away as Kevin Harvick comes in. Kevin Harvick was not happy with his motor earlier on, but he felt like as the run progressed, his car started to come to him, and then he seemed to be pretty happy with his engine. This is a 4-tire stop, and he's down and away on the 29 car today.
Ward Burton leaves now. He had a bad push. They made a major chassis adjustment, also pulled the tearaway off the windshield. Ward was having trouble seeing, and they hope they corrected that tight condition for the 22 car. Let's go to Bill with Rusty Wallace.
Outstanding run for Rusty so far. A little tight on the racetrack. 45 laps on the board. A chassis adjustment to try and help that tight condition. Right side's around. They'll come around to the left. Remember, he's the defending champion of this race. Driving the same car he drove to victory lane here 1 year ago. The 2 is on its way.
Rusty led a lap before he pitted. Then Dale Jarrett took over the lead. Now Jarrett comes down pit road, and Mark Martin's in as well, Matt.
Sean Parker and company just finished the service on Mark Martin. He stalls it. He finally pulls away. No chassis adjustments on Mark Martin to Bill.
Well, we've already documented Dale Jarrett's problems of a week ago. Good on the track. Now let's see how he gets on and off of pit road under these green flag pit stops. Right side tires for the UPS Ford. Come around to the left side. Not expecting to see any more chassis adjustments on this car. They haven't been perfect, but they've been very good so far. Jarrett has his fuel. He goes away. We go to Dave.
Track bar adjustment for Matt Kenseth was the last thing they did in their sequence. They changed 4 tires, filled him full of fuel, and then the catch can man made the final adjustment. Hardy.
Keep in the back of your mind, Jeff Burton's team getting terrific fuel mileage. That could be a factor today. The car a little bit loose off. That's what he was concerned with before the race. Half pound into the right front, and a quick stop for Jeff Burton's team.
Elliott Sadler and Ron Hornaday are the 2 remaining drivers who've not stopped yet. Here they both come off the track in turn 4. So that'll complete the cycle of pit stops with these 2 service visits. Sadler, good qualifying run, started today in 4th position. And he comes to the attention of the Wood Brothers crew. Dave Burns.
A.J. Foyt's crew goes to work for Ron Hornaday now as he comes in. No chassis adjustments on the car, so if Ron's missing anything, they're making it with minor air pressure adjustments to the tires on Ron's car. To Bill.
Elliott Sadler on pit road. Another good run so far for him. 4 tires. Expected to see a track bar adjustment here. Did not see it happen. He's got his tires, fuel. I'm not sure they got that thing full.
That could be a problem here. And so Elliott Sadler heads out. Got to keep your left side tires below that yellow line until you're all the way around in turn 2. And then you can blend up onto the backstretch. New leader.
Ricky Rudd started this sequence of pit stops with the lead. Bill Elliott comes out first. We saw Rudd's pit stop. It was about 16, 17 seconds. Again, when these guys make those good stops, that's not going to get it done. You got to be down in the 14, 15 second range.
And Elliott doesn't just have the lead. He's out in front of Rudd by 4.3 seconds. He's got a huge lead off that pit stop. Look at the gap. Elliott waiting on Rudd, waiting. There he is up there.
Wow, that's quite a bit. That's pretty surprising, actually, because the second or so on the racetrack is about 100, 150 yards here.
And this is a race for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Rudd, Casey Atwood in the 19, and Craven in the 32.
You wonder where you lose that time or how you make that time up. It's getting in to the start of pit lane, and once you leave pit lane, getting up through the gears and accelerating. You can lose or gain a lot of time there.
One car has gone to the garage. Let's get an update from Dave Burns.
And that car is Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch went in the 97 car, and unfortunately he is out for the day. The motor blown on that car. As for the 4 car of Kevin LePage, they did run out of fuel. I was just about to get the update from Scott Nicholson, his crew chief, when we came on the air. So apparently that was the only thing. They said they were very tight, though, before Kevin lost the fuel pressure in that machine.
And while he was coasting back around to pit road and the race was under green, it cost him 2 laps to the leader before he got back on the speedway. He's in 42nd position. Elliott, Craven, Rudd, Atwood, and Marlin, the top 5 of the Pepsi 400 at Michigan on TNT. Bill Elliott's the race leader in the Pepsi 400 at Michigan. We are just past the 1/4 point of the event. Elliott is out in front by 4.2 seconds over Ricky Rudd after a great pit stop by Ray Evernham and the Dodge team. Here is our Coors pit summary. How they came in, how they came out, and let's explain what that time means on the right, too.
Well, it means when they come in the pit road, that's 2 laps. The lap before they came in the pit road and the lap after they come in the pit road. It took Bill Elliott a total time of 1:24.6, and you can see just how much faster that was than all the rest of the cars. What is that, 3 seconds faster than anyone else?
It's almost it's over 4 faster than Rudd.
Which is what the difference was on the scoring.
In lap and out lap.
I'm sorry?
I said in lap and out lap.
That's
so important.
Yes, very important.
Next weekend, Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway. Friday, it's Bud Pole qualifying. CNN Sports Illustrated plus Happy Hour is also happening Friday at Bristol. You'll see it on CNNSI. Friday night, it's the NASCAR Busch Series event. Cat Rental presents at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And Saturday night, the lights will be on. 150,000 will be rocking and rolling in the grandstands. And we'll watch the Sharpie 500 together. Pre-race coverage starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a blast.
Sharpie, the official autograph pen of NASCAR drivers.
Aerial views of Michigan, courtesy of the United States Army, an Army of One. 212 ways to be a soldier. Find out more at GoArmy.com. What are you waving at me for?
I was only kidding. It's not the official pen. It's just one that they all carry around. I don't want anyone to believe that.
It's the one that works.
It's
Very
the one
good.
that works. Well, yeah, that's right.
You sign a couple. You use those pens frequently, I'm sure.
I have one a minute
He's
ago.
pulling one out of his right pocket now. It's right there on the counter in front of you. Alan Bestwick with Benny Parsons and Wally Dallenbach here at the Michigan International Speedway. Just past the 1/4 point of the Pepsi 400, watching Bill Elliott pull away from the field right now. His lead over Ricky Rudd is extended just a little bit. Here's the office for a Sunday afternoon. Where's your pen there, BP?
There it is.
There you go.
Sharpie, the official autograph. Well, no.
You gotta
Say that, you big dummy.
I told you, folks, I told him not to call me a big dummy anymore. The girls down at the beauty shop are going to get on you, Wally.
The ladies at the beauty shop, I'm sorry, but I have to work with this guy under these conditions every week. I need to do, believe me, if I make a mistake, I know you'll be all over me, BP, or when I make a mistake, not if.
Without hesitation. Thank you very much. Elliott, one of 4 drivers who've led the event. Ricky Rudd has led 33 laps. Elliott 21. Dale Jarrett a couple, and Rusty Wallace 1 during the exchange of green flag pit stops. No cautions so far. Average speed a little better than 171.4 miles an hour. You see the gap from Elliott back to now Ricky Rudd, 2nd place. Took that away from Ricky Craven a little bit ago. There's Craven and Casey Atwood, 3rd and 4th.
Last lap, Ricky Rudd was a little bit faster than Bill Elliott, about 3/10 of, I said a little bit, 3/10 of a second, and in racing terminology, that's almost a lifetime.
So you see looking up ahead from Craven there, you saw where Rudd was. Here's Craven and Casey Atwood again, 3rd and 4th. Casey started in 6th place, Dave.
Alan, they came in and crew chief Sammy Johns told me that he was loose on one end of the track and tight on the other, and unfortunately when they loosen him up on the tight end, well, he's really loose everywhere right now, so it's a little bit of a handful for him. He's lost 1 position since he went back out on the track.
And BP, that's really something that you have to start changing your line. If your car's doing something different on both ends of the racetrack, that's when the driver needs to start searching the racetrack, looking for the grip.
3 Dodgers in the top 5. The 3rd of them is Sterling Marlin, the 5th place runner, Liz.
This team is really hungry, Alan. I talked to Lee McCall this weekend, and he said, Liz, we want this so bad. It is so close we can smell it. He said if we don't get it this weekend, we'll for sure get it next weekend at Bristol.
Marlin running 4.7 seconds behind Bill Elliott, the leader, and being closed on by Rusty Wallace, who runs up in 6th. 5-time Michigan winner, Rusty is.
And I tell you what, Rusty Wallace has been very impressive so far. Don't you think so, Bill?
I
would definitely agree with that, and has clearly gotten better since his last pit stop. Then you remember we said he was tight? Well, they made an air pressure and a wedge adjustment. I just talked to Jeff Thousand on that group. He said the car is much better. Now, one thing to keep in mind about Rusty this weekend, he's missing a very valuable member of his crew. His PR guy, Tom Roberts, is not here. He's missing his first Winston Cup race after making 539 consecutive Winston Cup races. He was with Alan Kowicki before he came over to Rusty. So Rusty trying to win one for himself and one for old TR, who didn't make it here to Michigan this weekend, goofing off at home.
Well deserved.
Must be a good reason for TR not to be here.
500, what is it, 535, the number Bill said? That's a long time to never miss a race. Is that what it was, Weber, 535?
539, Alan, 539. And I'll tell you, I think TR just said, I'm taking a weekend off. And as you said, much deserved. So we'll see him next week in Bristol, and we won't let him forget that we were here, and he wasn't.
Yeah. Dale Jarrett's picked up 10 positions since the start. He started 17th. He's up to 7th now. Bill, how about DJ's run so far?
A little loose right now. They were okay at the beginning of the race, Alan, but not great, but not that far off, so just kind of so-so. Now he's just a little bit loose around the racetrack, driving a car that's been to victory lane twice this year, one at Darlington and also one at Texas. So long race here as long as the rain stays away. I like his chances as this thing goes along. You have to remember earlier this year, the later it got, the better he got, ended up in victory lane. That was Loudon, New Hampshire.
Behind Dale Jarrett is the man who gets the tip of the cap for the fast mover in the early going, Steve Park. You see some of the lap cars. Michael Waltrip's a lap down. Jerry Nadu came through. Andy Houston. Then you get back to Steve Park and Jeff Gordon racing for 8th and 9th. Park started 27th, and he's up to 8th.
And a good run for him, Alan, as you mentioned, a guy that has been able to carve his way through the field, picking up positions and building confidence as he goes along. They just told him, your times are good, just keep it up. So I guess, Wally, if you're sitting in that car, having a good time, and the crew chief tells you to keep it up, you're doing okay, huh?
Absolutely. When you're having a good time here anywhere, it's a lot of fun. I don't know how much fun he's having with that 24 filling his mirrors right now, but when you can drive that far from the back to the front that quick, you've got a very good race car.
And Jeff Gordon running 9th, started back in the 13th position, has not led yet today. Gordon, the most recent race winner here in Michigan, dominated the event in June, though had to make a come-from-behind rally due to some late cautions and pit strategy and all the rest to beat Sterling Marlin and Ricky Rudd in the final laps. Marty, how about Gordon's race?
Alan, he's not having that bad of a day. The car is okay right now. Remember, earlier it was loose in and tied off. He was only loose in because cars were behind him. That's one of the reasons that he let Steve Park go, because when a car is behind him, it really disturbs his car. He was tied off. That was their bigger problem. They went down on the right rear track, or the right rear wedge bolt rather, to help that tied off condition. But car pretty good right now for Jeff Gordon. Just really bothers him when a car is behind him. That really disturbs his car much more.
So you've seen the top 9. Rounding out the top 10 is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Todd Bodine is back on pit road again. He was just in at lap 42, so 24 laps later, this will certainly be on schedule. He's in the wrong pit. He stopped in Jimmy Spencer's pit.
Wow.
Bill, what do you got?
Looks like the right front tire was flat, guys. I was down here talking to the crew behind the war wagon, and it's the left front. It looks like the left front was flat.
But since you've got to come down pit road anyway, you might as well go ahead and change 4 tires, and I'm not sure that Todd knew exactly which tire was flat. So best strategy, change 4 tires. Now, as he gets back on the racetrack and the leader goes by, just hope and pray that they've got to stop before the caution flag should come out.
Bill Elliott messing with some lap traffic. Ricky Rudd taking advantage, trying to close in. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Battle for the lead in the Pepsi 400 at Michigan. Ricky Rudd has run down Bill Elliott with the help of some lap traffic that Elliott's been wrestling with the last few circuits.
It also looks like Bill's car is a little bit tighter than the 28 car. There's the 28 car back down on the bottom of the racetrack.
And what happens while these cars get looser and looser is Rudd is right there, right alongside. How much is Bill Elliott going to try to keep him behind? Looks like he's going to do a pretty good job. But what happens as they use fuel, as the rear of the cars get lighter and lighter, these cars start getting tighter and tighter through the corners. In other words, not wanting to turn the steering wheel, and the car wanting to go straight.
Elliott by a foot at the line that time. If you're scoring at home, that would be 7/1000th of a second that Elliott had the lead by that lap. That's what the baseball announcers all say, isn't it, if you're scoring at home?
Now, what one of these guys need is somebody behind him right now. If Ricky Craven or somebody gets behind him, he'll choose who to go with, and he'll help that car get by the other car. You see the 66 there? It looks like a top of dime. Now, if he stays with Ricky, which he will because it's a Yates motor, he should help push him by Bill Elliott.
He's got fresh tires, Todd does too, so he's fast. The unscheduled pit stop a minute ago has left Todd 2 laps down in 39th place.
But you also have to be careful, especially with fresh tires, not to get Ricky loose in the corners. You need to go ahead and push him down the straightaway, but you don't want to get right on his tail in the corner where you get him loose.
Lead change.
Ricky Cordell said to Ricky Rudd as he came off the corner, "You're clear." He moved up and took over that lead position. And here comes Craven, that 32 car.
Trying to close in on Elliott for second. Rusty Wallace closing in on all of them. Wallace has just taken 4th spot. You've got Casey Atwood just around Sterling Marlin now, so Marlin slipping back a little bit to 6th. 150 miles in. Tell you what, the sky got dark all of a sudden, too.
Now here you got Todd trying to get one of his laps back. And like you said earlier, he's got fresher tires, so he's going to be right in the middle of these guys racing for position. But he's doing what he's got to do. I mean, he's got to try to get that lap back.
And Bill Elliott lost the 3rd position to Rusty Wallace.
That's one of the great things about this track. See how all 3 of them took a little different line through the corner?
But you all wind up using the same real estate getting off that corner. Everybody's got to be right up against the wall on the exit. Doesn't matter if you're on high, low, or in the middle. It's almost like an apex, but it's on the outside of the corner.
Craven trying to get around the Todd Bodine car. And now he's in contact with the leader.
And in the race in June, right there, the 2 car and the 66 made contact. And Rusty Wallace was in the outside barrier. But that time, everything was nice and smooth.
Clear, clear, clear. Ricky Rudd is the leader of the Pepsi 400 at Michigan. We'll come back with more live coverage in a moment. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
The Pepsi 400 from Michigan International Speedway on TNT is brought to you by Team Monte Carlo. The cars more champions depend on. Chevy will be there. By Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light. Are you ready for a cold one? By Walmart. Always low prices. Always. And by Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
Log on now to NASCAR.com and check out the Conseco NASCAR Fantasy Challenge. Pick your own team of drivers and see how you match up against other fantasy teams. Log on today and you might just win a replica of the number 14 Conseco Winston Cup Pontiac. 80 laps, 160 miles into the Pepsi 400. You're watching a race for second place between Ricky Craven and Rusty Wallace.
And Bill Elliott, these 3 Fords is kind of driven off from the Dodge of Bill Elliott. Look at Craven right up against that outside retaining wall, and Ricky Rudd, the 28 car, the leader, still running in the middle of the racetrack.
It's about 15 laps or so, 50.
Here, Robin Pemberton radioing to Rusty about 15 laps away from a pit stop.
Yeah, right now they're kind of probably wanting to get some information on what the car's doing. They need to start planning on what changes they need to make for the driver for that pit stop.
Mad Max, the nickname that Wallace's team gives this particular chassis. Their team tradition, they name a car after it wins a race.
Rusty's car a little bit tight. Right there through the center, a little bit tight. That's why he's got to drive the car down a little bit lower getting into the corner, because you'll see the car slide up, so he needs that real estate. If he went in as high as the 32 car, he'd hit the wall.
David Pearson, as you see, the all-time winner here in most of those races, driving for the Wood brothers in that 21 car back in the 70s. They were almost unbeatable here.
See here, he hesitated on the throttle right there. He went after the throttle. He hesitated going full throttle because the car is not turning for him. See here, you see the car slide up the racetrack. He's got to wait till it stops sliding, slowly back on the throttle. Now, if we get to watch him through 1 and 2, that last time he tried to run in the middle of the racetrack in 1 and 2 and had to really be easy with that throttle getting off the corner.
Go there. Clear.
And the exit to turn 2 is the difficult spot at this racetrack.
You're picking up the throttle. But that time he had to get off it a little bit more because he was passing somebody. So, but I'm sure he's pretty tight right now.
But good news is he's pacing Craven and Rudd, who are the two ahead of them on the right of your screen. That's the leader, Rudd, up there. Craven's catching him. Last lap by. It was half a second. Let's see what it is this time. About the same.
I think Rusty's probably, when he gets closer, he's gotten closer to 32 a couple times, which makes his car worse, because now he's getting an arrow pushed on top of the car being tight as it, just by itself. So.
And as way of a follow-up, you see Todd Bodine's car in the screen there. Reported that he is a couple of laps down. Bill Weber, I think you had a follow-up for us on that.
I sure did, Alan. A lot of teams came down and looked at that tire, and so did a couple of Goodyear engineers. They're not conclusive yet in their results, but they believe it's either a slow leak or perhaps a very, very tiny puncture that caused Todd's tire problem. They're going to take it to the back, dismount it, and they check from the inside out to see if they can document what happened.
Well, as soon as that investigation is complete, Bill, you'll let us know, will you?
That's why we're here, Benny.
Okay.
Here you got the 2 car coming up 32.
Second place.
Got it.
Rusty Wallace to the runner-up spot.
Now there's just one more car in front of the 2. 28 of Ricky Rudd.
See the yellow car there, Robert Presley. He is the first one a lap down now, back in 27th place. 1 year ago in this race, Rusty Wallace led 118 laps. Looks like beginnings of pit stops again, Marty.
Well, Alan, Hut Strickland is in, and we talked about their fuel pickup problem. We're going to see this all day for Hut. They're going to have to start coming in a little bit earlier than most all the other teams do, because, again, they have that problem where they're not quite getting all the fuel that is in the tank. They were running in the 28th position when they did come down pit road, which is a disappointing run for these guys, because, as we mentioned, this is Hut's best racetrack, and they've had a pretty rough day for these guys. They expected big things today.
And here comes the leader, Ricky Rudd. So now Strickland needing the green flag to stay out till everyone has made a pit stop to kind of get back in the cycle of things.
Jeremy Mayfield in the 12 car, Kenny Schrader in the 36, and Bobby Labonte, the 18 car. All cars directly in front of Ricky Rudd, in jeopardy of going a lap down, and to see Rudd drives on the inside of the 12.
This is the 24th place car, is Mayfield. And he's a lap down. How about Bobby Labonte, about to get lapped by the leader? Just before halfway at Michigan, he's won 3 times here, and he says this is his favorite track.
Before today.
Before today. It might not be tonight.
Boy. Here's Steve Parkin from 8th place. Bill Weber.
He's having a real solid run, Alan. I just don't think their fuel mileage is anything. I almost didn't see the pit board. Their fuel mileage is nothing like they would hope, I wouldn't believe. Because we've talked in the past couple of weeks how DEI has done extremely well in their fuel mileage research. No changes in the car. It's just 4 tires and fuel. His partner, teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. is also on pit road. It's 4 tires, fuel. One is away. Now it's going to be a chassis adjustment, a track bar adjustment, right side tires. Then they'll swing around, put the lefts on, send the Budweiser Chevy back out on the track. Junior, again, wearing the head and neck restraint device for the first time today.
Casey Atwood is in. He said the car was loose everywhere, but then a little bit tight off of turn 4 because of the wind blowing down. It's blustery down here, and they made a wedge adjustment to try to correct that for Casey. He gave up 6th place to come on pit road, and pretty average pit stop with the 19, but Casey's back out with an adjustment. Let's go to Matt.
Jimmy Spencer was complaining his car was loose early in the run and then would progressively get tighter. So what they're going to do is make an air pressure adjustment, go back to their original settings at the start of the race, and also make a chassis adjustment. Spencer, 4 tires, away.
Is run out of fuel?
Get 4 tires of gas.
No, I don't.
4 tires of gas. Fit.
I don't think so, because he was slow down in the 3 and 4 and rode by the entrance to pit road. I'm not sure exactly what. He's very, very slow, but here's Jeff Gordon, Marty.
Well, he's here, Benny, and he is running 7th. The car's pretty good. Takes a little while to come in, but when it comes in, it's pretty good. And they're running 7th, like we said. They're going to make no adjustments. It'll be 4 tires for Jeff Gordon this time. Biggest thing they're fighting right now is track condition, and that's the case with most all the cars on the racetrack. But 4 tires, no adjustments for Jeff Gordon.
John Andretti looks like he might have run out of fuel. He's coasting down on the inside of turns 3 and 4. When he came by the entrance to pit road last time, he started to dive down in, but he was going too fast, Dave. He couldn't make the cut.
Oh, and that's going to hurt him, Alan, because they pitted on lap 42, and they have reported in that he is out of fuel. This would be a 48 laps, and he can't make that far. Bill?
A chassis adjustment, 4 tires for Sterling Marlin. They ripped the tearaway from the windshield. Still have the wedge wrench in there. Make another chassis adjustment. Get the fuel in, get the wedge out, get him out. We go to Matt.
Ricky Rudd has already made a stop. No adjustments, no air pressure adjustments on the 28 car of Ricky Rudd. Just 4 tires and fuel. Today.
Matt, the 43 is in now. They spray ether into the carburetor. It does refire, so he has fire in the hole now for John Andretti. He gets out of here. Boy, that doesn't sound good. That's a huge burnout for Andretti, who had been reporting no grip on the racetrack. The team now very frustrated that they lost all that time. Back to Matt Yoakum.
Kevin Harvick, who finished second in Saturday's Busch Series race, makes his scheduled stop. Kevin was complaining his car was just very tight in the center of the corner. Kevin Hamlin, his crew chief, going to adjust this number 29 Goodwrench Chevy with air pressure. A 4-tire stop as Ronnie Otto goes to work on that left rear. Chocolate Myers pulls that can back, and Harvick's down and away to Marty.
Ricky Rudd comes slowly down pit road. What a terrific run it's been for the Tide team as he comes in running 3rd. I just asked Mike Beam, the crew chief, are you going to make any changes? He said absolutely not. It will be 4 tires for Ricky Craven, who is having a great day today. They pulled a tearaway off on both sides of the windshield. They have not made one single adjustment to this race car all day long. They hit the setup right from the beginning. They cleaned the grill. Left side tires going on. A nice stop for the Tide team.
Out of fuel, coasting around the racetrack, Tony Stewart.
And I'll tell you something, too. When you're out of fuel, you don't know how fast you're going down pit lane. So a lot of guys get down for speeding because there's no way to judge how quick you're going.
We get a follow-up report on Ricky Rudd. Something just didn't appear right there, as slow as he made that lap around before his pit stop. First, here's Tony Stewart in.
Right side's on. Windshield's Marty.
Well, Tony Stewart came in. He was out of fuel, Vinny. The car is not running right now. They're going to spray some gas into a hose they have attached that goes directly into the carburetor. Car stalls again for Tony Stewart. Costly time being lost on pit road here for Tony Stewart as the Home Depot guys try and push the car away as the team is in disgust right now, losing valuable time as he pushes the car through his teammate Bobby Labonte's pits. And now they're going to stop, try to put more fuel. Oh, they're going to push him back and see if they can put more fuel in it that goes directly into the carburetor. The problem is his teammate Bobby Labonte is coming down pit road. Big dilemma here for Tony Stewart's team as the teammate Bobby Labonte comes in. Bobby's car a little bit loose. They finally get Tony Stewart started. To Bill Weber.
It's an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for Dale Jarrett. 95 laps on the board. Cloudy. It begins to drizzle on the front stretch. Rusty Wallace now begins to make his way down pit road as well. A long run down pit road for Wallace. They do not anticipate making any changes this time, with the exception, of course, of giving him 4 tires and fuel. Rusty's car was tight. Wally had speculated that it was tight on the second run. They had actually made it better. They were fairly happy. They called it more neutral, really, than tight. So no changes this time. He gets the 4 tires and the fuel, and Rusty Wallace will head back out looking for the win off the 43rd place finish a week ago, Dave.
They're on the left side already on Matt Kenseth's car. They changed 4 tires, make no chassis adjustment, but a slight air pressure adjustment. He actually said it was pretty good and that he wanted very few changes on the DeWalt core.
Mark Martin will take over the lead after the Rusty Wallace and Matt Kenseth stops. Caution for rain. Yellow flag is out. 3 laps shy of halfway for rain.
And Ricky Rudd's car has got to be something wrong with the engine, because you just cannot keep up as we see the flagman waving that yellow flag.
Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth have not, Mark Martin has not yet stopped for fuel, so he's going to be the leader as he comes to the start-finish line, and the caution is out. So, Matt, what's going on with Rudd?
Robert Yates was just talking to Ricky on the radio. Robert, something amiss in the motor?
Yeah, we just, we put a lot of gear to it, trying to beat everybody, and, one little piece just wasn't tough enough, so we'll go back to the drawing board, I guess.
Something in the valve train. How long will that motor live? Will it live all day?
Well, it depends on what it is. It may run on 7 cylinders for 2 weeks, but, it's not, you can't win a race on, not here, you can't win a race on 7.
Well, they were hoping for the rain possibly to bring this car in just to check and see if there's anything they could do under the hood. Remember, he is a title contender. Last week, his teammate also had a big blow in the points, Alan.
Ricky Rudd second to Jeff Gordon in the race for the championship, 194 points behind. Even if it runs all day, he's going to finish well down here at Michigan. It's raining here at Michigan. And the question is, how long can Mark Martin stay out on the track on the fuel he's got? Let me set the situation for you. Well, first, let's look at our pit summary as how the round of stops that happened just before went, and give Bill Elliott's crew there just credit.
Man, I tell you what, those guys are just, every time, comes in 5th and comes out 2nd. Rusty Wallace loses a spot. Craven loses 1, and Atwood gains 1. Ricky Rudd is the guy that we're missing in there, but he has since lost a cylinder.
Now what do we do? Now, well, first we check out Mark Martin, who almost wasn't the leader coming to the caution flag. Look at this.
Wow, that's what you call squeeze play there.
Yes, sir.
He had no idea that the 0-1 car of Jason Leffler was up there.
He did not.
Now, Mark Martin is the race leader. If you're new to NASCAR, once a race crosses its halfway point, if weather interferes, NASCAR can declare it a completed race. They have just completed halfway. Mark Martin hasn't pitted yet. How long can he stay out, hoping it rains it out? Let's find out. Matt Yoakum's in his pit.
And Roush Racing does have some history winning in the rain. Jimmy, how long can you guys go before you have to come down pit road?
Well, we can go halfway, and this will be halfway, so.
Well, you're watching the weather, hoping that shower does stay.
Our car is not that good right now, and if the shower stays, we'll be all right. This is lap 100. We still got a couple more laps left, but let's just see what happens.
Are you running back and forth to the radar?
I got a guy down there all the time.
Come on, Thomas. How long can you go before you have to bring the 6 back to pit road for fuel?
If we go green, we'll be coming back in.
Remember, Jeff Burton, Mark Martin's teammate, has been victorious in the rain at Darlington. They're hoping for another rain win here, possibly at Michigan, Alan.
They're coming to halfway here, and they're coming to the red flag.
They will not get the halfway signal. Will they?
Yeah, they're getting the halfway signal, but
if they go across the line, they will, in fact, have run halfway.
But I believe, and we'll check with NASCAR on this, but my understanding of the rules is that it's got to be one lap past halfway to be an official race. Would they not have to run 101?
I thought it was 2 halfway.
I don't know. We'll find out. We'll
We've got the book out, and we were looking at. But I believe if you get to halfway, that is official.
But see all these guys putting their tarps down on pit road so that if this race does resume, and we hope it will and think that it will, their pit will be at least a little bit drier than most other places around there. And as they draw off the racetrack, draw off the rest of pit road, all they got to do is sweep it a little bit, and it'll be dry so the driver, Mark Martin, can stop, change 4 tires, get fuel, and be able to get some traction as he leaves.
Okay, and the clarification on the rule, by the way, is that at lap 100, at halfway, it isn't considered an official race. So right now, if the skies were to open up and this thing were to not restart, Mark Martin has just stolen one.
Yep.
If, and there's a lot of ifs there, because we've got a lot of daylight left here in Michigan, and it doesn't look like it's raining all that hard.
Yeah,
it's raining, but
I love it when the booth guys say it's not raining that hard.
Yeah, it's not that wet out there,
Come
is
on
it,
down
Weber?
here. I'll swap with you.
It's not raining all that hard, Weber. Come on now.
Look at it. It's not that hard. It's not lightning, at least.
Yeah. I mean, hard is you know, bring out the arc hard.
And all these drivers
Weber's just afraid of getting his hair messed up. That's what he's afraid of.
All these guys, except for that guy right there, that 6 car, did not want to see it rain.
That's right.
I mean, we just, you know, when you get going, you got the adrenaline pumping and you're doing your job, and this is just like everybody just sizing us. Oh, man. They just want to stay racing. But, of course, Mark is very happy right now, especially when your car's not that good. Like you said, Alan, they steal one. That's, you know, hats off to Jimmy Benning and all those guys for staying on top of that, especially having a guy at the trailer. I think that's the smartest thing. I've always said that. When it looks like it's going to rain, have a guy looking at that radar all the time. Just plan a guy over there and get the updates.
So the rain has stopped the Pepsi 400 here in Michigan with Mark Martin leading. We'll come back with more in just a minute on TNT.
If you wanna run cool, you got to run it on heavy fuel.
Back at the Michigan International Speedway, the cars are stopped and covered up under the red flag for rain at the halfway point. All the people are covered up too.
Yeah, well, they're pretty smart. They've got their tarp out.
That's a big tarp too. Now we are at the midway point of the race, so if the weather would not allow us to continue, it is an official event. But if I were hedging things, I would say that won't be the case, because the weather radar doesn't look all that bad.
No, it looks to me like this is a little blob down there, the green stuff that you see, green and blue. See this green stuff? That's bad stuff. This is clear sky back there. And I think that we're right here, right in the middle of that little blue-green thing, and it doesn't look that big.
You would get an A on your geography lesson, BP. That would be exactly where we are. So, Mark Martin probably doing a little rain dance, huh, Marty?
Well, I would say he's doing a rain dance. And, Benny, the definition of green being bad is only by your own personal definition, right, Mark? You like green right now, don't you?
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. I'm not very superstitious. We're trying to win one of these things however we can, you know.
Another green on the radar.
Well, it's okay. It'll be all right for today. You know, we're trying to win one however we can here. We, you know, we always get real good gas mileage at Roush Racing, and Viagra team's been, you know, working on the numbers pretty hard, and they thought we could make it here, so to halfway. So we could get lucky. We probably won't, but you can't say we didn't try.
Yeah, now you got to think that thing's close to out of fuel now. Did it sputter on you?
Does it matter?
Yeah, well, not now.
It doesn't really matter right now. If it rains the rest of the day, it's going to be pretty cool.
We cannot. We've tried everyone to find out if there's any fuel left in that thing. No one will tell us, Dave.
Well, Marty, you know, I know Mark thinks it's pretty cool if it rains the rest of the day. Bill Elliott, what do you think if it rains the rest of the day?
Well, I don't know. I need to be a little bit better than what I am right now, but we're not bad. We just need a little bit. But, you know, the 2 car seems to have come on right there at the end, and you know, I don't know if we'll get all the rest of the race in, but I'd like to at least try.
How's your car been handling? We've talked a lot about the balance issue today with the front end and the rear end.
It's not been that good. It's not been bad, but I just hadn't been able to hit a combination that seems to work for me. That'll go the full gas run, you know, from start to finish of a gas run.
All right, Bill. Bill is hoping for no rain so that he can adjust on his car.
Okay, I don't even have to ask Rusty Wallace. I know you want to go back to racing, don't you?
Yeah, I'm ready to go back to racing right now. We got a hell of a good car. It's just flying out there. We made a tire pressure adjustment, some wedge adjustment. That thing just took off, and so we're sticking with it right now, and we got a great car.
Yeah, you were a little tight early, and then you did adjust on your first stop.
Yeah, I was way tight earlier. You know, I'm real tight, but I'm still running real fast at that. 5th, 6th, somewhere in there. But, boy, we made that one adjustment. It just took off and went right up to the front.
You brought the same car you took to victory lane last year at this race.
Yeah, I sure did. But, you know, it's the same car, but they've been all rebuilt, all new bodies on them and all that type of stuff, different style engines and all that. It's really the same frame and cage. That's about it.
And I got to ask you one thing. You're trying to race this week without Tom Roberts, your PR guy, being here, and you guys have been together. This would have been his 539th consecutive race.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody deserves a break. I wish I could take off a week and let Tom drive my car. He knows that. But, no, he'll be back next week. He's just breathing a little bit because his 36 races is killing a lot of guys. And Tom, he's always in the sky, and I'm glad he's at home. He's probably on the lake, you know, with one of those TVs where you can see everything. But he'll be back next week. But he's got his trusty assistant taking care of him, and we hope we win this race so he's got something to write about this week.
Okay, best of luck to you. Stay dry.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, that's Rusty Wallace. Let's go further down pit road to Matt.
And Bill, Ricky Rutta is another driver hoping that the rain stays. Ricky, currently 14th, but you do have a motor problem. How heartbreaking knowing the rocket ship that you had.
Well, it's really disappointing. You know, you always say it. You never break stuff when you're running poorly on an average day. It always happens when you're having a great day. And, you know, Texaco Haviland Ford Taurus, it was just running excellent. This car we had here, we ran second with last race. I think it might even be the car we finished second here with this race last year. So it's been hung up on seconds, but it looked like we might have had a good shot at a first today, and it just wasn't meant to be.
Looking at Michigan, I know you guys were racing for redemption. If you're losing the lead in the race on the last lap here in June, but you also have to keep points on your mind. Your teammate took a hit last week, and if the rain does come back out, you could take a hit here today.
Yeah, you know, it's you're going to have some trouble throughout the year, and I've always said that's what's going to win the championship, the guy that has the least amount of problems. So we had our problems this week, and, you know, again, though, I'm just so happy the way this team is running. It's a very competitive week in and week out. The cars are handling better, the motor's running better. Then you turn around and you have a little setback like today. But, you know, I don't think we can beat Gordon in the points unless he has some trouble also. I don't think anybody's going to beat him.
Now, Doug told me before the race started, your engine builder, Doug Yates, that you would be turning about 9,200 RPM. How much were you turning out there, and was that the reason for the valve train problem?
Well, we weren't turning that, I can tell you that. I'm not going to say exactly what we were turning, but we weren't turning that. And it doesn't seem to be RPM related. I know everybody's turning their motors tighter and tighter, but it doesn't seem to be the issue, really. It's something else. I'm sure they're going to know as soon as they get back home. But it's valve train related, but I'm not quite sure what went first.
Well, the bad news for Ricky, the rain is starting to let up a little bit. He currently resides a little bit wet in the 14th position. Alan?
Mark Martin's last win, Martinsville, in April of 2000. He was 18th before the pit stop started. He's the leader under the red flag by stretching his fuel mileage till the rains came here in Michigan.
Wrangler presents Families of NASCAR. The Michigan International Speedway holds a special meaning for the Earnhardt family. The late 7-time Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt won 2 races at this very track. Dale Jr. captured a push victory here in 1999. And earlier this season, Kerry Earnhardt added to the family tradition with a title of his own in an ARCA race. For more on the Wrangler Families of NASCAR, go online to NASCAR.com.
And one of my favorite memories of the Earnhardt family on the track came at Darlington in the Southern 500, appropriately enough, in the rain. We ran about 50 laps or so. They finally brought out the red flag because of rain. Dale Earnhardt Sr. hopped out of his car, went back to his pit stall, and started watching the race on tape. And he wasn't just watching himself, he was watching his son's car. Where was Dale Earnhardt Jr.? In the pit stall right next door, watching his beloved Washington Redskins while the rain was falling at Darlington. Just another fond memory of many years of Earnhardt's racing in the NASCAR Winston Cup, and of course Dale Jr. and Dale Sr. in the Busch Series. Let's go to Dave Burns.
You know, Bill, drivers, while they're racing, will watch other cars to determine which ones they feel like they can beat and which ones they just might not have an advantage over. And, Ricky, you said one particular driver, the last 10 laps, just kind of came out of nowhere. Who was that?
Yeah, Rusty showed some strength. The 28 car was the car that I felt like I had to beat to win this race. And then Rusty showed some strength on the bottom. But depending on what happens after this rain, if the top groove comes back like it was, I got a shot. And I'm pretty excited about it. Hey, I got to say hi to Riley and Everett, my kids. I miss them so bad. But, hey, Daddy might bring home the big trophy, so you keep watching.
And kids, by the way, that means it can't rain. Okay, so no more rain, guys. Let's go to Bill.
Okay, now when you're in a rain delay situation, you walk down here and you find a lot of guys back in their pit or back in the garage, but you always find Dale Jarrett in the same spot, sitting in his car. Let's see what happens. Come on, let's sneak up here. Todd Parrott's here talking to him. Hi, Todd.
Keeping him company.
Are you? You're always in the same spot, aren't you? When it's raining.
Yeah. Once I get in here, I don't much like to get out.
Well, how has it been in there today?
It hasn't been bad. I mean, I couldn't go on new tires there, and the guys got away from me a little bit, and then the car started coming back. Ricky was awful fast. Hate to see him have trouble, but, we worked on it. Hopefully we got it a little bit better where we can go race these guys.
You were really classy after the race last week, taking some of that blame for your problems up there, weren't you, at the Glen?
I don't know about that. You just got to tell the truth, and I wasn't taking some. I was taking all the blame. I'm the one that made the mistakes, and some days, unfortunately, I'm going to do that. I'm human, and these things are going to happen. Had an awesome, just a truly great race car. I mean, I was so excited to have a car like that on a road course. I just hope they give it to me again like that, because maybe next time I'll know a little better what to do with it.
How great was that car? Hang on. What?
Well, so we were so excited that he was running so fast that we weren't even mad because he did get stuck.
How great was that car you had here 10 years ago yesterday in your first Winston Cup win?
Yeah, that brings back a lot of memories. Eddie Wood made a great call. We just got gas, and we were able to hold Davey off by just 6 or 8 inches. So, kind of got my career started, and owe a lot to Eddie and Lynn and Leonard and Glenn Wood, the entire Wood family. They mean a lot to me, and have meant a lot to my career.
Okay, if you need a burger or something, just tell Todd. He'll go get it for you, okay?
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. That's Dale Jarrett and his crew chief. Todd Parrott still hanging. What?
Before you go, I got to say happy birthday to my niece and nephew. Alex and Dylan Makar are 7 years old today. That's Jimmy and Patty, my sister Patty. That's their twins. They're 7 years old today. I think they're up at my house, actually, with my kids. Hi to my kids. But hope y'all are having fun.
So that's you getting it done for Jimmy right there, huh?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, how about that? Power television. Let's go back to Marty.
Hey, Bill, if DJ needs a burger, this guy can bring him one. He's in the garage. You've sought some refuge here in the rain.
Yeah, I had to make a pit stop of my own.
Conveniently timed pit stop, huh?
Well, we needed caution, not necessarily for that reason, but we need some good track position. But we didn't want the rain to come. The track was really coming to us. Our car was just getting better and better and better, and we need track position. So this is going to help us get that. I just hope we get back out there.
I know you want to race because DJ's ahead of you, and he has led a lap, and you have not today.
Well, yeah, I would like to lead a lap. I'm not so focused just on DJ. I've got about 5 or 6 guys ahead of him that I'm focused on also. We've just been steadily working on getting our car better and better. It's been doing that, and we're working our way to the front. So we were coming, but we just need to get up there and get with those leaders and see if we've got something for them.
Well, the points leader struggled early. The car getting a little bit better, Liz.
Marty, on a serious note, before the rain started, Brett Bodine's wife, Diane Bodine, took a spill from his pit cart. She was taken to the infield care center. I have spoken with her. She wanted to reassure her family at home that she's okay, possible broken leg, probably going to take a trip to the hospital just to check things out, some bruises. But most importantly, she wanted her family to know that she's doing okay. Alan?
Sorry to hear about that.
Well, me too.
Red flag for rain here in the Pepsi 400 at Michigan. We'll come back with more in just a minute on TNT. Back at the Michigan International Speedway under the red flag at the halfway point of the event for rain. And let's take a look at how they're running. Mark Martin has not yet stopped for fuel. Everyone else except Jeremy Mayfield in 8th place has. So Martin and Mayfield looking to steal a couple of positions if for some reason the weather won't let us go back onto the green flag.
Mark Martin started in the 25th position. Rusty Wallace started in 14th. They made some huge moves toward the front. The 12 car, Jeremy, was back in 19th. And we see Jeff Gordon just 2 positions behind Dale Jarrett.
Ricky Rudd has engine problems. If the race does restart, he's going to go backwards. so he may be hoping things quit right where they are. He's in 14th place now. Johnny Benson, Michigan native, at the midway point of the field in 20th spot.
And there you see the 21 car, Ron Hornaday, the last car on the lead lap. Starting with Stacy Compton, these cars are 1 lap down. Back to Terry Labonte in the 30th position.
Tony Stewart, John Andretti both ran out of gas just before those green flag pit stops. That's why they're a lap down. And you see some of the other drivers who have been overtaken at least twice by the leaders. We said in our pre-race show, fuel mileage would be a big deal, and that is the case. Kurt Busch out of the race with engine failure, the only driver officially retired from the event. Look at our Wendy's race menu. What's coming up next weekend here on TNT? It's off to Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway in southeastern Tennessee. Saturday night under the lights, always a great one, 7 o'clock Eastern time next weekend on TNT on Saturday. Then it's the Southern 500 from Darlington Labor Day weekend, the other night race at Richmond on September the 8th. And then we go back to New England in the New Hampshire International Speedway on September 16th. All of that upcoming as we continue our race for the championship coverage on TNT and NBC. We're back to Michigan in a minute. It's raining in the Irish Hills of Michigan, and that does not leave those eyes a-smiling.
And can you imagine, there is a drought going on up here, believe it or not.
The farmers are loving it, but the race fans are not. Stopped for rain at halfway through today's event with Mark Martin leading. Let's take a look at Lethal Weapon that's coming up next on TNT.
One cop is over the hill. I'm too old for that. The other is over the edge. See Mel Gibson and Danny Glover at their best in Lethal Weapon.
Stay tuned for Lethal Weapon coming up after the race here on TNT. Kind of look like Benny when the waiter gets his order wrong, doesn't it? Let's go hear from some of the contestants in today's race who are waiting it out with us, starting with Dave Burns.
Now I'm standing by with Casey Atwood and a friend of his, Jason Flamer, who I'll tell you about in a minute. But Casey, earlier I reported that you were fighting the wind coming off of turn 4. Tell us about that. What's that like?
Well, our chassis feels a little bit loose, but the wind's blowing down the front straightaway. So when we come off of turn 4, it just makes it get a little aero tight, even if you're out there by yourself. So, I was just letting them know I didn't want them to free it up for that because it's plenty loose everywhere else. So just had to be aware of which way the flags are going because this track's pretty sensitive to the wind.
I thought that was pretty cool. He watches the flags for that. Now, Dodge is involved in a diversity program, a diversity initiative with NASCAR to bring more persons of color into the sport. And Jason Flamer here is one of 6 winners of a scholarship to send him to a technical college to make sure that he has all the skills necessary to get involved in NASCAR. But the cool thing is that he did an essay and he had a great GPA that got him into this, Jason. I want you to tell us what it means to you to win this scholarship from Dodge.
I mean, it means a lot to me. I mean, I appreciate what Daimler Chrysler and the Dodge Motorsports have done for me. I mean, I always wanted to get into NASCAR, but this right here pretty much opened up the door for me.
Now, you told me you're working kind of on suspensions and brakes and things like that. How would you adjust Casey's car now?
I really couldn't tell you. I mean, you really put me on the spot, didn't you?
I know I did. No, that's cool. The best thing about it is, though, that one day you're going to be able to answer those questions, aren't you?
Yes, I will. Well, hopefully, I'll be a crew chief by then. Next time you see me, I'm going to be the first black.
Oh, so you're going to go from school to crew chief?
Oh, yeah, just like that. That's how good I am.
That might be a little optimistic. The idea of the program, of course, is that they get them entry into NASCAR, and so guys like Jason are going to have a chance in the sport. Someone's asking me a question.
Hey, Burns, what would you do to adjust Casey's car? Let's put you on the spot.
To adjust Casey's car?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. The problem, Alan, is that the problem is with the wind coming off of turn 4.
Is bluffing?
And like he said, okay, I'm bluffing.
You know how to tell Burns is bluffing? His lips are moving. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Alan, if Mark Martin does indeed hold on to win this race, he will break the longest winless streak of his career since he won his first race, his 113th start. But Sterling Marlin, you've gone 170 starts since that last win at Daytona in July of '96. What about it today? If we go back to green, do you have a shot?
I think so. We got real good on the last run, the last 15 laps. Our car was really quick. I found a different groove. We picked up about 1500s and was reeling them back in and just pitted. And the car's a little free right now, and you got to run a little while to get it to come to you. So I think we're in pretty good shape if it's raining.
You have a second, a third. You've come so close to getting Dodge back into victory lane. How special for you to be the guy to put Dodge back into victory lane since 1977? They haven't been there.
It'd be great. I mean, especially here at Michigan. This is one of my favorite tracks, and you know, we felt like we had it won here in spring, and the caution come out and got us, and we got a good car today. Rusty's stuff absolutely fly up straight away, but we can get him through the corners a little bit. Hopefully it'll come down on a long run, and we can run him down.
With 15 laps to go back in June, it looked like he had the car to beat. He ended up finishing third. Bill Weber.
Okay, hanging out here with Steve Park. What, 27th to 10th here? That must have been fun.
It was pretty wild there in the beginning, Bill. You know, my hat's off to Paul Andrews and this whole Pennzoil team. They did a fantastic job. We were not this good in happy hour yesterday, and me and Paul and Dave got together last night, had a little dinner, and decided, you know, on what we were going to change this morning to try to make this Pennzoil car a better race car. And right now it looked like it's working pretty good. So just want to say hello to my mom and dad. They didn't make it this weekend. And my friend Bob back in Ohio, his wife was involved in a motorcycle accident, and she's in the hospital laid up right now. So our thoughts and prayers are with her. And just got a great race team here. Hopefully this weather will clear up. So all you race fans, stay tuned to TNT. We're going to go back racing here in a little while.
Okay, well, if you're going to do that, well, just send it back up to Alan, okay?
All right, now back to the booth to you, Alan.
All right, put him on the payroll.
Wow.
Weber, he's after your job. But we know you couldn't
There's a
take
long list of that down here.
We know you couldn't take his job, though.
That's right. That's for sure.
Is it still just raining, just not raining hard?
Yeah, it's not raining hard at all. It's a small arc we're going to build down there.
In other words, there won't be room for us, right, Weber?
We're building a boat.
What'd you say?
Start gathering up the animals. We're building a boat.
That's right. No room for the guys in the booth.
No, that's it, man. The booth guys are separate from us guys that are down here in the trenches.
This is the trenches.
This is.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
That's right. You do, Wally.
Yeah, well, it's nice and dry up here in the booth, Bill, so that's fine.
Okay.
Stay dry someplace. Keep the hair wet, dry, rather. You know, don't want to mess it up.
Go to break, Alan.
We're riding out
Go
the
to break
storm
now.
here at Michigan.
Now.
Still raining here at Michigan. And the red flag out halfway through the Pepsi 400 with Mark Martin, the leader. Log on to NASCAR.com to play the AutoTrader.com Move of the Race sweepstakes for your chance to win a $25,000 shopping spree on AutoTrader.com and other great prizes. Boy, it's just started raining harder. It, in my opinion, wasn't raining all that hard. Weber seems to disagree with me, but in my opinion, it wasn't all that hard. But, boy, it just started coming down now.
Alan, it's hard to get a good opinion on how hard it's raining when we're sitting inside with a roof over our head, don't you understand?
But aren't you glad for that roof?
Oh, of course I am, but again,
Yeah,
it's...
Me too. Me too. Hey, Benny, Mark Martin sitting there, maybe going to steal a win away from Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace. Did you ever win a race in the rain? Did you ever lose one by it being shortened from rain?
I never won a race in the rain, but yes, I lost one. Martinsville, Virginia, mid-70s sometime, had the best car that day, and caution flag came out, and somehow the crew and I got mixed up on when to pit, when not to pit. I go from leading the race to a half lap down on a caution flag pit stop, and before I could catch back up with the field and pass those guys to retake the lead, it rained. At about 3:25, the race was over. And the worst part about it, as I left the racetrack that night about 7 o'clock, it was the most beautiful day you've ever seen in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Always. Now, one of the most memorable races I saw earlier before I started as a professional in the sport involved you and Rain and Darrell Waltrip and Charlotte Motor Speedway. Know which one I'm talking about?
The Coke 600 in 1980.
You got that right.
That was a terrific race. The race was delayed twice that day by rain, and we finished about 7:30 that night.
Yep.
But we did finish.
Took about 7.5 hours to run it. You and Darrell swapped the lead about 100 times between you, it seemed like, and you finally won out, held the trophy. That was with Bud Moore, right?
No, that was with the MC Anderson car. And, you know, it seemed like every time that rain delay came into effect, Darrell was leading the race. So he wanted naturally to end the race each time. Let's go home. Let's get this over with. But NASCAR insisted we restart, and thank you, NASCAR, for doing that.
Well, we're going to wait this one out here, too, today at Michigan. And so while the cars sit covered up, let's go over to Liz Allison.
Now, Benny, you know that it is a well-known fact that in the garage area, most of the Winston Cup drivers are quite suspicious, from not eating peanuts to not driving green cars and not having anything that adds up to 13. Let's take a look at a few of the superstitions around this racetrack.
Very superstitious. If I ever get a room that adds up to 13, I always get them to change it. I have a
superstition. Hat's always on the shift lever.
I still won't drive cars with 13. I won't touch $50 bills, and I'm real picky about the motor guy being the last one to the car.
If you wore a pair of shoes or something and had a bad race, I'll throw them away, or gloves. So the guys give me crap all the time about it, but I'm kind of superstitious.
The one thing that I don't try not to do is pick up a tails up penny. Other than that, there's not a whole lot.
I always got to have some in my seat, whether it's a quarter or a 50-cent piece or a lucky Air Force coin or anything like that. And it's always got to be heads up.
Very superstitious.
One thing at the racetrack, these ladders you see up and down all these haulers, I will go out of my way to not walk under that ladder. You probably will never notice it, but I won't exactly go between the ladder and a truck. I'll always come around a different way.
I think we're the strangest group of people in the world because I've never met a driver that isn't superstitious.
Strange, I don't know, but superstitious for sure. And I'm with one of those superstitious drivers right now, Tony Stewart. Tony, where in the world did all of these superstitions come from at the racetrack?
I think when you grow up around racing and the more racetracks you go to, the more that you hear them from other crews. And, you know, I know my $50 bill deal came in Martinsville with Dale Earnhardt. A guy on our team said, go take this $50 bill to Earnhardt, and said he'd get a rise out of it. And he had just poured a bottle of water in my seat, so I was trying to find anything to get a rise out of Earnhardt, and got in with that $50 bill. And I thought Richard Childress was going to kill me, and I thought Earnhardt was going to kill me because they didn't like him either. So that's the same day that Kenny Irwin and I had our big deal at Martinsville, and ever since then I'll never touch another $50 bill again. So I don't know. I think it's just years of experience of being around the racetracks that you pick them up.
Yeah, and the peanut thing, I have never been able to figure out the peanut thing. Will you eat peanuts?
Not at a racetrack. I'll eat them at home, but I won't ever eat them at a racetrack. And I drove for a guy named Larry Howard that out in California one day. We were pitting next to a guy that was eating peanuts and throwing the shells on the floor. And we'd already unloaded our trailer and had all of our equipment down, and we had to move 2 pit stalls away to move away from him because he didn't want to pit next to a guy that was eating peanuts.
We talked about your little accident at the beginning of the show. How are you feeling? How's your leg getting along?
I can take my blood pressure through my foot right now. It's throbbing pretty good, but like I say, I mean, we're at Michigan, thank goodness, and not at Watkins Glen. So, you know, it could be a lot worse than what it is right now, but it's definitely uncomfortable. So, you know, we got halfway through it, and this is giving it a break. So, if anything, the break's giving it a chance to rest.
I hope it gets to feeling better. Alan?
Tony Stewart kind of hanging out back in 34th place right now, a lap down after running out of fuel before the red flag that stopped this race for rain. Let's talk about superstitions for a minute. While they were talking about peanuts, old Wall here was laughing. Where'd that come from?
Well, actually, it came from open wheel. I think it really started back in the midget days of the sprint car guys, and it followed over to the IndyCar guys, and it was a deal where it had something to do with peanut shells, actually. The guy threw peanut shells on a car, and that guy happened to be killed that night at that racetrack. So, but you were around when I had Mr. Peanut following me around. I had a big problem with that.
Wally, back when you were driving for Jack Roush, one of the associate sponsors on his car were planters. And so they wanted to do a photo shoot at the racetrack one day with Mr. Peanut. And he's just walking around with this grim look on his face, and he's trying to accommodate the sponsor, but he's not happy about this. And finally, the photographer says, okay, let's get Mr. Peanut sitting in the driver's window of the car and Wally standing next to him. And that's when he went off. He said, no way.
Never happened. No way. And it didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
Wally, didn't you tell us at Talladega one time that you wore some kind of special underwear?
I wore my wife's underwear.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with that. Do you have a problem with that?
Yes, I do.
I don't.
Explain.
I was out. It was raining, and we had a rain delay, and I didn't have any left, and there was an extra pair, and I ran pretty good that day, actually.
So you did
finish 8th.
So did you try it more than once?
A couple times, yeah. I'm wearing them now, right now.
Oh, no. That's information we didn't need to know. Thank you very much. We were just starting to warm up to you.
Well, don't ever do that. That's a bad sign.
With that, it's time to go someplace else on this fine broadcast. How about it, Liz?
You know, talking about underwear, guys, when I was talking to Hut Strickland this weekend, he said he will only wear red underwear on race day. So there you go, Wally.
See? We got an underwear hang up out there with us drivers.
Have we hit the point of more information than we needed yet?
Exactly, yeah. Can't we go to commercial?
Oh, I got more.
Something?
I got more if you want to hear more.
No.
Okay.
Please. It's stopping. The rain is. We have hopes of going racing again.
The Pepsi 400 from Michigan International Speedway on TNT is brought to you by Miller Lite. Want a great taste that's less filling? Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. By the Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Wider is better. And by Castrol Syntec Full Synthetic Motor Oil. Protects in ways other oils can't.
They are starting track drying efforts here in Michigan, and just as they do that, the rain starts up again. You can see quite a bit of water there to be moved off the pit lane. The radar, well, it gives us a chance, so we're going to sit it out right here, and I'll be willing to hedge that we'll get this thing run to its 400-mile distance. You think?
I believe, yes, I certainly believe we'll see
so
400
too.
miles racing today.
Meantime, what's happened through the first 200 miles? It is our Pepsi race recap. We go back and take a look. 43 drivers went green a little after 2 Eastern time under threatening skies this afternoon. Ricky Craven was on the pole, let him down for the start. Todd Bodine, one driver who's had some troubles in the early going, came down pit road with a flat left front tire, stopped in his teammate's pit on the way to his own stall. Everybody, all the other teams taking a very interested look at what happened to Bodine's left front. Mark Martin stretching his fuel mileage as others made green flag pit stops near halfway, nearly got into Jason Leffler. Others stretched their fuel a little too far. Tony Stewart running out of gas. He and John Andretti back in 34th and 33rd, respectively, after taking it a little too far before they came in for gasoline. Ricky Rudd, one of the title contenders. He's been in the top 3 about the whole race. Lost a cylinder on his engine just before the rains came. He's in 14th place now. If we go back racing, he's going to fall back through the field. And when the rain started, the race came to halfway. Red flag with Mark Martin leading, not yet having visited pit road, and hoping that the weather will wash the rest of this thing out and he can steal a win away.
I'll tell you what, too. If they go back, they're going to run under yellow for quite a few laps. I wonder how far Mark can really go once they fire these things back up. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. He's got to come in anyway.
Not many laps can he go.
And as soon as they start him up, he'll come down pit road and get his fuel. It's a matter of if they get started again or not. Napa Field summary. This is the only caution you are seeing that has turned into the red flag. Just the one car out, Kurt Busch with an engine failure at lap 40 at a very brisk average speed. A lot of those leaders and lead changes helped by some green flag pit stops. Dave Burns, what you got?
Well, Matt Kenseth's standing by with his wife, Katie, and they've been fortunately watching the broadcast with the volume down, so they have no idea you've been talking about women's underwear. Anyway, Matt, recently you were driving the Michigan track. Actually, you were seeing the Michigan track on a simulator. What was that all about?
Oh, when I was on Today's Show last week, Soledad was trying to drive the simulator at Michigan, and she had a little bit of trouble, so fortunately for me, today's going a little better for us.
So moving up to 11th from your way back starting spot, that wasn't because of Soledad's drive?
No, but we've been running really good today. I've been really proud of the DeWalt guys. We had 2 real good pit stops, and our cars ran as good or a little bit better than a leader all day, so I'm really hoping this will dry up and we'll go back to racing. And also then Benny won't be able to be up there talking about women's underwear.
Hey,
Busted. Actually, it was Wally Morlap, but that's
Dave,
okay.
Dave.
Yeah, go ahead, Benny.
Hey, if this thing goes back, tell him Mark Martin may not win.
Well, Matt has an interesting perspective on that. Benny said Mark Martin may not win if this thing goes back to green. Now, what do you know about his fuel mileage?
Well, first of all, sorry, Benny. We should get similar gas mileage. He's running a little bit less gear than we're running, I know, but when we pitted on lap 99 or 98, whatever it was before the caution there, we took both 11-gallon cans all the way, so we were out of gas. So he's got to be cutting it pretty close.
Yeah, Matt told me they had about 50 laps on that, and so if Mark took on the same fuel though the last time, they ought to be pretty darn close. Let's go to Marty.
Hey, Dave, and yeah, we're talking about women's underwear, too, with Kevin Harvick and his wife, Jelena, but we won't go into that conversation. You're a guy who wants it to rain because...
First off, I think Wally was digging deep for a lot of good luck. He must have been having a really bad time.
Well, it worked, didn't it?
I was just out of underwear.
So. He said he was out of underwear, that's all it was.
I think I'd have rather went without. But anyway, ours is blown up. It's on
your engine.
It's on 7 cylinders right now, and we're hoping for it to keep raining. But it looks like the sky is kind of lightening up, but time's ticking away, so we'll just have to wait and see.
So if it does not or if it stops raining, you'll finish, what, about 35th, something like that?
Something like that.
It'll be a little different.
I was in a really bad mood until you got here, so.
You were hiding from me. Let's tell the truth.
I was hiding from you because I didn't really have anything to talk about until they started talking about women's underwear, so.
And then the show just went in the can from there, right?
That just kind of livened the whole show up, and things took a whole different direction, didn't they?
Yeah, they took a very much different direction. Now, Alan and I were debating this nickname. I called you Little Superman last night. Hey, Alan, he likes my nickname. So there, how about that?
We got to come up with a good name for Alan, like Statue Hair or something. Rags on Alan's hair.
All right, Kevin.
Well, you know that
I'll get you, Kevin. I'll get you for that.
He said he's going to get you. You know, Matt Yoakum calls him phone book because he has to sit on phone books, you know, because he's so short. that might work.
Yeah, I'm going to stay off Alan. He's got too much TV time.
Statue Hair, back to you.
Never argue with the man who gets the last word. Mr. Harvick has learned that lesson. Very, very smart of him. Hey, is that blue sky?
I believe it is.
It is Statue Hair.
But we'll have to check with Weber and see if it's raining or not in a minute. Can't wait. Next Saturday night at Bristol, the second of 4 straight weeks of racing here on TNT. Well, progress. Jet dryers are out. Where's Weber? We have to get the official word from pit road if it's still raining or not, because we're not qualified to say that from up here in the booth, according to him anyway. Is it raining, Weber? I guess that's a no. What is it?
I'm not talking to you.
Okay. And let me also just point out that the reason I appear so much shorter is because I got stuck with the short chair. So, isn't that okay? Right?
So where's your phone book?
I'm not sitting on a phone book.
Well, that's what we're asking. You usually have 2 or 3 of them.
Fine. Wally, let's shift this thing ahead to Bristol and talk about that for just a minute. Dick Trickle calls it like trying to fly a fighter plane in a gymnasium.
Tell you what, people talk about taking your breath away at a racetrack. Bristol takes your breath away, especially when you first go out there the first practice. Usually you're coming in, they want to know what the car's doing. You're just trying to catch your breath. It's an unbelievable place to run. It's really cool.
You know, and here we've seen these big wide corners at the Michigan Speedway. At Bristol, the corner's about that wide. I mean, really, at 135 miles per hour, those guys have got to drive it down there and keep it around the bottom of the racetrack. There is no second groove. There's pushing and shoving and gouging trying to get to that bottom groove. Just a direct opposite of Michigan.
We talked about atmosphere at Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago with the Brickyard 400, and that's another race, Bristol, where the atmosphere just is so much different than any other stop on the circuit.
It really is. And, you know, walking through the garage here this morning, mechanics, crew chiefs, drivers all talking about, man, I can't wait to get to Bristol next week. I mean, even the competitors, they know on Monday morning they've got to go in and beat the fenders out or put a new frame section on the front of the car or the rear of the car. They know that, but they love to watch a race at Bristol.
Yeah, they love to watch a race. There's a lot of drivers that don't like to run Bristol because usually you're going to have about 42, 41 guys that are going to be in a very, very bad mood when they leave that place.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the neat things about when you've got a few extra minutes more than planned is you get to go back and dig through everything that's happened in the event. Here's one you didn't see earlier. Second lap of the race. The pack comes thundering off at turn number 4 to the start-finish line. Watch the flag stand.
Watch a checkered flag. It'll pull out of the flag stand and fly away. That is cool. And that's how much air is coming off the top of these cars. I mean, it's amazing.
You see the flags going towards turn 1 there? Actually, the wind was going toward turn 4. All that cars going by generated the air that blew the flags down toward turn 1.
Jimmy Spencer has had a pretty solid run today. He's in 12th place. Matt Yoakum's with him.
Jimmy Spencer has been down inside his transporter watching the comedy hour. I mean, the rain, Phil, first off, your take on Wally's performance.
Wally's doing a good job. I agree with him. Alan needs a little bit taller chair than Benny and him, so.
We tried getting him to get like a bigger classifieds phone book, but he won't do it.
You know, I've noticed at some of these discount stores and some of them shopping places. You can get them hydraulic chairs that lift you.
What about a Super Kmart?
Kmart's got them.
Kmart has them. I'll have to look for you, Alan, and see if I can find one. But
Thank you, Jimmy.
You know, I just hope this rain goes away now. You know, I think there's a lot of guys hoping it stays and whatever. But we're running pretty good with the Kmart car, and I think we're 12th right now. And you know, we feel like we made one adjustment there that first time, and it really messed the car up. We went back to where we were, and we feel like we're a little bit quicker than we were. But boy, Rusty's really strong right now in some of them. But we think we got a top 10 car, so hopefully it goes back to racing. We come out here with a solid top 10.
What do you need to do to make it a first place car? 224 or so starts since your last win, Jim?
It's been a long time, I agree. Probably if we could pull it in the garage area here, I'd change this front sway bar, and I'd do a couple other little things to it, but we're not fortunate to do that. But you know, I tell you, it's running really good. Our car, the straightaway speed is really great. Our corner speed's off a little bit, and you know, Donnie's a little concerned about it, and I am, because we really want to be a contender for a win, and that's what the whole race team does, you know, and we haven't given up by any means, and we know that if we get our car 2 or 3 tenths quicker, we can contend with it then, you know, and that'd be a lot of fun to get up there and mix it up with them.
You and Kevin Harvick had a unique discussion when you both climbed from your race cars. What was that about?
I don't think he should have pushed me down the back straightaway like he did. You know, I think it was uncalled for. I was racing Dale Jr., and you know, Dale was trying to give me some room, and you know, again, Kevin says he was faster than I was. Well, heck, I mean, you're faster than a lot of people sometimes. You got to respect the guy in front of you. I was respecting Dale Jr., and he wasn't respecting me, and I didn't appreciate it, and I told him that.
Wally wants to know, by the way, any good luck charms that you've used in the past? He has used some unique ones himself.
I've heard he's worn women underwear.
No, come on.
That's
you heard that?
I've heard Wally wore women's underwear. He used to drive for Bud Moore, and a lot of the guys that are associated with me now used to work for Bud. So they said they caught some kinky things. You know? What can I say?
Hey, I want to clarify something here. It was my wife's underwear, not
he wants to clarify. He says it was Robin's underwear, he says.
Oh, that's true. No, she was a great racer, too. You're right, Wally.
She even ran a race here at Michigan.
Yes, and I remember Robin on the short tracks in New Smyrna. How is she doing, Wally?
She's doing good. She misses everybody. She misses coming to the tracks.
He says she's doing great. She misses being at the racetrack, though.
Well, we need to bring her, Wally. We haven't seen her in a while. Make sure she comes, and I'll fall for that story that it was her underwear. Okay.
That's Jimmy Spencer. He's going to head back inside to see how he was graded by his crew members, because they're all watching this up in the front of the hauler.
Disappointed Yoakum let Spencer off the hook. Jimmy changed the subject to Wally. Right? We didn't put Spencer on the hook. 5 jet dryers are out on the track, but more important is the fact that the sun is starting to beam down on the banking here in Michigan. Hope to go racing again soon. Track drying underway here in Michigan, waiting to resume the Pepsi 400. The world's greatest rivalries and biggest grudge matches are coming to TNT. Don't miss the Goodwill Games from Brisbane, Australia, starting August 28th. Speaking of grudges and such, we were talking to Jimmy Spencer about he and Kevin Harvick's discussion a minute ago. We have the videotape.
And I've studied this, and you can see where Jimmy comes on the outside here. And you see right at the window, Jimmy's pointing. And, you know, Jimmy is so concerned about the fellow driver. I believe he's telling Kevin, you may have a right front tire going down.
Is that what it is?
I'm pretty sure that's what he was trying to tell Kevin.
And this was the post-rain discussion.
Kevin's thanking him. Saved my life, Jimmy.
I don't think that's exactly the way it was going. Kevin was explaining, and Jimmy was saying, I don't want to hear it.
All right, let's go back into the garage. Marty?
Well, Alan, the show is already out of hand, so I've caught up with Russell William Wallace, and let's talk about your new game. What's your new game here, Rusty?
I'm into golf, but I didn't know you guys were coming over. I was hiding between.
Oh, I'm sorry. We caught you off guard, didn't we?
I've been pinging a windshield on Mike Hilton's bus over there.
And he's actually hitting the ball. We're going to do that in a minute.
I hit his trailer about 6 or 8 times, but haven't hit the ball.
Let's talk about your game. You're into it a month now. You shot a 51 last week. Of course, that's with 36 mulligans, but you shot a 51. How's that? Oh, no, that's Mike Hilton's trailer. So, you know, you're not discriminating out here, aren't you?
There's a black flag.
He's up in that booth up there.
So you go right for the big thing. But he's probably watching the broadcast there, Rusty.
He's a good guy. He won't get mad.
Oh, you think so?
I'm loaning my motorcycle. If I tear his coach up, he can ride that.
All right, how's the golf game going, by the way?
I'm having a lot of fun. They screwed me up this week, though, because I've been going every day, every Saturday. Every Saturday from about 1 o'clock till about 6 o'clock because the happy hour practice. But now they threw another happy hour practice on me, so I didn't get to golf today. But I'm getting better at it, and I got my Miller Lite golf clubs over here. And
you bought clubs for the entire crew, too.
I bought Sig Wasaki, Sig, with Miller Brewing Company. All the guys sent us 9 sets of clubs and bags for all my people. So we all go together. We have a blast.
And you drag them to the golf course every Saturday, the mean man you are, and make them play golf.
We get a designated driver. We go to the golf course. We drink a lot of Miller Lite, and we have a lot of fun.
All right, give us a shot. Now, Benny is our resident pro. He usually beats me. So, talk him through a swing here, Benny.
Club. Now, watch me right here.
You got to move that right hand over a little bit.
And I camber it a little bit, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Now, I can't see because you got the thing in my eye. Here we go.
Oh, man, very good, Rusty.
I missed it again.
But you're doing good.
You guys got to be getting mad at me because I don't know if that's Helton's bus or not.
I know that's Helton's trailer right there, the car trailer.
Well, I know where all my golf balls are at.
All right. Please, here's Jeremy up here. You want to play too, Jeremy?
Yeah. I'm watching Rusty play golf out here. He didn't know we were watching, and Helton's going to be pissed.
And look, here's the worst part. His name is on every golf ball, RW. You can't miss that, can you guys?
Golf balls. I just put my name on them, so I know which one it is.
All right, someone please take this show over. Let's go to Dave Burns.
And Marty, recently Johnny Benson played a little golf at the Brickyard, but his favorite thing to do is to race super late models against the local hot shoes at his home track, Berlin Raceway in Grand Rapids, Michigan. He did that this Wednesday. Now, he usually gets to borrow a car, but this year he was told he couldn't. So he built his own. 6 years into his Winston Cup career, Johnny Benson sank his own time, skill, and money into this car for just one reason: his fans.
'Cause I love to feel those wheels go round and round. Home is where the heart is, and my heart is at home.
It's special because it's my hometown. You know, I've been fortunate enough to win a track championship here, won some ASA races, and it's always fun to come back. I mean, now that I got a little involvement with the racetrack, it's always neat. We got a lot of great fans, probably the best that there is in the country, and it's always cool to come back and do a little racing and see the old fans.
Hey guys, who's your favorite driver?
Mark Martin.
No, Johnny Benson. All right, kid, that's okay. Mark Martin did a lot of racing in Michigan, but he didn't grow up there. Johnny Benson did, and you got to race there this week. You didn't finish, though. What happened?
Well, I just had a little problem. I wanted to build my own cars. Not that I wouldn't. Ford City always gave me a car. But anyways, yeah, we just had a little struggle. I finished 4th in the first one. We were running 5th, and just had tires starting to go away, so I just got out of their way and just parked. But always had a lot of fun. Schrader come up there, and we had a big time.
Yeah, how'd he do?
He finished 6th or 7th. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he did pretty well. He said he was kind of out to lunch to begin with, but he got the hang of it. What about, are you just staying out of people's way today in the Pontiac out there? What's going on?
I'm glad I'm one of the 2 Pontiacs on the lead lap. I mean, we're struggling with the Pontiacs right now, but you know, we're working hard. I mean, Valvoline's been doing a tremendous job with us. James Ince been doing a great job. Just a matter of being able to keep up with the other guys. And I think as we get going here, we're going to get better and better. Hopefully the track will, you know, be a little toward our favor, and we'll see. I don't know. Pontiac's hurt right now. I told you it's pretty good on pit road, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's where he's been best today, Alan.
Well, we're starting to see some dry patches in the corners, Dave. That is good news as we await the restart of the Pepsi 400 at Michigan. Back at the Michigan International Speedway, track drying well underway as we await the restart in the Pepsi 400. Now let's take a look at the season finale of Witchblade on TNT.
See the story of a woman who started out a cop and became something more. What are you? Justice. Witchblade on TNT.
It's the season finale of Witchblade, Tuesday night at 9 on TNT. So more of this. We have time to go back through some of the videotape and show you neat things we don't have time to under a green flag race. How about at the rain, people running low on fuel, and terrible Tony Stewart. comes up on Ron Hornaday, who's in trouble.
Ron Hornaday is out of fuel. It looks like he's not going to be able to coast back to his pits. Tony Stewart pulls up and gives him a shove that gets him going, and Tony back on the racetrack. Tony Stewart, the Home Depot car, is 1 lap down.
So Tony Stewart, the Good Samaritan there. But after he ran out of gas, he is back in 34th place. Been having a lot of fun here over the last half hour, 45 minutes or so while we've waited out the rain. But unfortunately, not all the news in the world of NASCAR, and in particular the family of NASCAR competitors this week, has been good, Benny.
Dick Trickle, I talked to my wife on Friday night, and she was telling me that his granddaughter, Nicole Bowman, 16 years old, was killed in a car crash in Lincolnton, North Carolina, just outside Charlotte on Friday. And, you know,
yeah,
your heart just goes out to Dick and the entire family because 16 years old.
Yeah. Dick's daughter, Vicky, is Nicole's mom. The other child involved in the accident was Luke, Nicole's brother, 14 years old. He was hospitalized and injured in the accident, though is expected to be okay. And we certainly send our thoughts and prayers to Dick and Vicky, their entire family, on their very terrible loss. We await the resumption of the Pepsi 400 here in Michigan, and we're back in a minute on TNT. Here at the Michigan International Speedway, track drawing underway to try and get the Pepsi 400 run to its scheduled distance. We are exactly at the halfway point of the race, and Mark Martin is the leader. He got it by stretching his fuel mileage. Everybody else stopped for gas just before the rain came. Martin and Jeremy Mayfield, the 8th place car. Once we resume, we'll have to duck onto pit road, and that'll hand the lead back to Bill Elliott. Matt Kenseth, spectacular run. Talked with him a little while ago. Ricky Rudd's got engine problems. When we go back racing, he and Kevin Harvick, the 16th place runners, are going to fall back through the field.
Back 21st through 30th, we see Ron Hornaday will lead that group.
Everybody from Stacy Compton is a lap or more down. 22nd place on back.
That's right. Todd Bodine had that unscheduled stop for a tire. Bobby Hamilton started 31st, and he still remains in 31st. Andy Houston, John Andretti, another car that ran out of fuel, and Tony Stewart, once again, he ran out of fuel.
And Kurt Busch, the only driver out of the race, he had engine failure at lap 40. Back into the garage, here's Liz Allison.
You know, we've been having a lot of fun in the garage area, but it's not as much fun for the guys who want to race. How much does this mess up your concentration on the track when you have a rain delay like this, Dale?
Well, it's kind of good for us. I mean, we kind of struggling with the handle on the car, so this kind of gives us time to regroup, maybe has come up with some better ideas of what to do to the car. Maybe I can sneak around, adjust some air pressure before I get in there or do something, but it's like I say, it's a chance for us to try to get a little better. We did get it better on that last pit stop, so I'm kind of anxious to get back going, but there's a cooler full of beer at the house I need to get into too, so we need to get this over with.
You're 13th at this point, got a little bit of time to dry the track, got a lot of time this afternoon. Do you think you can move it on up?
Yeah, I think we got a good enough car to get in the top 10, maybe compete with some guys at 6th, 5th place, something like that. But there's some awful strong guys up front. They're going to be hard to beat. Some guys probably behind us might get their car running better. So it should be a good race for the fans once we get started back.
And you're wearing the neck device, the head and neck device today. How's that feeling for you so far?
It's pretty comfortable in some areas, but it's something some of my fellow drivers asked me to wear, and I think when guys like that speak up, it's something you ought to take notice to. So I'm going to try it out, see if I can't get comfortable with it, and see if it's something I can't start using more often in the future.
Well, let's see if we can get the track dry and get these guys back out racing. Bill?
Okay, we're hanging out here with Elliott Sadler, and he doesn't know it yet because he's watching us. And when you watch the TV at the track, you're on a 5-second delay. So he's about to look down here and go, you're watching TV and you're on like a 5-second delay. So you're on right now, even though you didn't know it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just hanging out watching Dale Jr. talk about his touching device and looking at the weather. We're just kind of taking it easy.
How come the tallest guy, come down here, it's too loud now. See, they waited till the jet dryers came around in the front stretch. I just wanted you to see him get out of the mess he was in up there. How come the tallest guy in the garage is cramped up under that thing?
I don't know, it was raining real hard earlier, so me and the boss up there watching y'all on TV, interview everybody. You know, when you're racing, you don't know who's racing with who, and I didn't know the 26 into 29. We're talking to each other, and I didn't know Rusty played golf, and I'm learning a lot of stuff here today.
Well, let me clarify something. Rusty doesn't play golf.
Yeah, Rusty might be a good race car driver, but he needs some help with his golf swing, and Heldon might get mad about him hitting golf balls that way, too.
How's your car?
Not as good as we would like it. You know, we fell back from the beginning very, very loose. That's why we had a meeting early and just decide what we're going to do if we get back to green, and we're going to make a lot of changes. Nanny on the lead lap, we got time to do that, and thanks to our gas mileage, we can make it on one more stop. So if we get it back going, I hope we can go the rest of the way on green and hopefully do the same thing Mark has done here for halfway.
So maybe your good luck charm will be helping you out here, huh? You got something taped to the dash in that car?
Yeah, I did an autograph session Thursday, and a little kid came up to me who had won a go-kart race and broke the top of his trophy off and gave it to me for good luck. And I taped it to the dash as soon as I got here Friday morning. We qualified 4th, and so far so good. We're 15th on the lead lap. No problem so far. So far it's working. If it makes it through the day, I'll definitely have it with me at Bristol. So I have a pocket full of stuff time I get to Bristol.
You are superstitious.
Very superstitious. I have been for a long time. Ever since my dad used to give me a quarter to put in the seat to start a go-kart race when I was 7 years old. So I'm still trying to carry that through today.
It has to be heads up, right?
Has to be heads up. No tails. Heads up.
All right. Good luck the rest of the way.
You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Elliot. Good seeing you.
Yeah.
Tell Hermie we said hi.
I will. Hey, Hermie. I'm sure he's watching.
Dave.
Hey, Bill. Robert Presley hopes it's good luck to have his son Coleman hanging out here with us. And right now his wife Gina and his daughter Shelby are hanging out at the motorhome. So, Coleman, you want to say hi? Say hi to your sister.
Hey.
All right. That's how you say hi down in North Carolina. Hey, Robert. How is your car running? You guys elected to pit after the rain started, so how's that strategy going to work out?
I think it's going to be great. All we want to do is go back racing, because call Ryan made there was we was getting low on fuel, so we had to come in, didn't want to run out and fall a lap down. So if we can get this thing started back up, we can make it on one more stop, and there's a lot of race cars that can't. So we're sitting in pretty good shape right now if we can get back racing.
And I mean, a few cars ahead of you are going to have to pit, and some are coming back because they're not running well, right?
Yeah, got a couple that's down a couple cylinders, and got a couple that's got a pit. So I think when we go back green, we're already going to be in the top 10, and there's a lot of cars up there that can't make it on one more stop.
Okay, Coleman, you want to play TV now? What I got to have you say is, let's go to Matt. All right, here we go.
Let's go to Matt.
Well, thank you, Coleman, who is a very good Bandolero race car driver, by the way. We're looking at the NASCAR radar down here at the red trailer, the famous red trailer. Jeff Paxson, a.k.a. Junior. They call him Jack Roush Jr. He's the engine specialist for Roush Racing, looking at the radar. And I'm standing with Mike Ford, who currently is second on the grid, started second. You're looking for your first win. You're looking over what you should do if it looks like it's going to rain, if it's not going to rain.
Yeah, you got a couple different scenarios. If we get running, which we hope we do, because we are sitting second out on the line right now. If it looks like we're going to get the full race in, you know, it adds a fuel strategy to the day, which, you know, some of the guys can make it from here with one more stop. We're sitting here, have to come in twice, so you hate to give up that track position, but you absolutely have to think about it. But, you know, I think we're going to stick tight.
You learned at Indy, track position is everything.
Definitely. We went there and we gambled for the fuel mileage and gave up a little track position, and, you know, we couldn't get it back. You know, the aero is so important on these cars now. You get in traffic and you lose a little bit. So, you know, we're taking the opposite approach this week, and we're not going to give up track position.
Well, the latest from down here, guys, Alan, there's a cell about 35 to 40 miles away, but it should take about an hour to get here. And they say the track should take about 45 minutes to an hour to dry. So who knows? And by the way, Mike says it's an action adventure, not a drama today.
Well, we're a good ways into that track drawing. There's Alto Reed, saxophonist for the Silver Bullet Band. Take us to commercial, Alto. An impromptu jam session is broken out in Victory Lane here at the Michigan International Speedway. You go, Alto. Even brought his own dancers with him.
I like that.
All right, Bill Weber, your turn.
Okay, just hanging out down here on pit road and just seeing what some of the other guys are doing. And Gonna walk back here for just a minute, and I want to introduce you to somebody. And right there, see that man sitting right there in that chair? That is the world's slowest golfer. That is Jeff Burton's crew chief, Frank Stoddard. And he plays a great game of golf. He can play 9 holes in under 5.5 hours. And he's just mesmerized by some of the things that can happen on a golf course. So he's back here working very hard on his plan for when this race resumes. And we don't want to disturb him. He's putting on his headset right now. So I'm sure there's some important communication coming through. So Alan, why don't you take it back upstairs, and I'll see if I can sneak in here and get a word with Frank. I don't want to disturb his concentration.
He's hard at it, isn't he?
Oh, if you weren't with us for our qualifying show at Watkins Glen, some of the joke might be lost on you, but Frankie got on with Benny and I and slammed Weber pretty hard, so I believe they're even now, and the crew chief doesn't even know it. Marty, what do you got?
I was just going to add, I think Frankie is the #1 slowest golfer in the world, and our own beloved Dave Burns has to be the 2nd slowest golfer in the world. Yeah, speaking of him, let's go to him right now.
Oh, here we are. Hey, we're talking golf. I just asked Blaney if he was golfing at all, and he said no. And I said it must be because when you run World of Outlaws, you have absolutely no. How many races do they run during a year when you used to run?
We ran about 100, and it was all driving track to track to track. And there's guys that do, they play, but no way I've got enough patience for that.
Yeah, well, speaking of patience, we talked at the beginning of the show about your car being real loose, and the fact that you were great in June. So did that nose change on the Dodge? Does that really hit you guys?
Made me looser, and I started the race way loose, and we kept running, and we were pretty fast, and I kept screaming, got to tighten this up, got to tighten it up. Well, they tightened me up, and I went slower, so I guess I got to deal with it.
But the weather had an impact on you too, didn't it?
Well, yeah, it got dark and cooler there, and that tightened me up more too. But we're okay. I mean, for half that first 100 laps, we were as quick as the leader in the top 3 in times, and then we fell off when we got tight. But we're okay. We're setting pretty good.
All right, we're here on the 93rd green, and we're going to go from the 2nd slowest golfer to the slowest. Bill?
Well, that's an outstanding toss. Dave Burns has just confessed he is the 2nd slowest golfer on the planet. Will you confess that you, Frank Stoddard, are indeed the slowest?
No, I will not confirm that.
Turn that thing down. Turn the sound down there. Thank you. You know how to work that thing? Usually they don't let you crew chiefs touch stuff like that.
No, I won't confirm that because...
Well, I will.
Well, the reason that I was playing...
Bestwick will.
The reason I was...
Snyder will.
The reason I
Burns
was playing
will.
slow was because as bad as I was beating you, I wanted you to really feel the pain, okay?
I was feeling the pain. I was playing with you.
Well, you felt the full brunt of it right there. If I had sped up, I just would have put you behind further, I don't want...
Yeah, but we could have gotten 18 holes in one day if you had sped up a little bit.
But what did you have to do, though? You didn't have nothing else to do.
I had other things to do. That's why I had to leave after 9 holes because it was getting dark, and we'd been out there for about 6 hours.
The reason I've got
Don't touch.
The reason I got to go slow is because if I drive the golf cart too quick, Bestwick's hair will get out of place. Okay? And we know that's not going to happen. That's like Jimmy Johnson getting his hair out of place. That's not going to happen.
Anything else?
That's all I got to say. Benny, his hair can't get out of place because he doesn't have much, bless his heart.
But you're not looking for much airtime the rest of the year, are you?
I'm with you, Frankie.
And Wally, you want me to get Wally?
To finish it off.
Well, Wally was just going to rally for you, but go ahead.
All right, well, I'm not going to get Wally then.
He knew he had to have one voice left on this broadcast.
Go see Bill Davis. He'll get Wally.
How's your car?
Actually, the car's pretty good. I think that if we can, I want to go back green in the worst way. I know Jimmy Fennon's going to hate me for it, but we're gonna be in pretty good shape here. I think that a lot of guys, including us, probably going to have to come and top off our tanks a little bit here. And Benny will decide whether he thinks I'm really going to do that or not. But anyway.
Well, we know you're going to do it. We just don't know. We know you won't tell us the truth about what you did.
I might put on tires when I do it too.
Well, that we can see.
Okay. Well, anyway, point being, I think that we'll gain a little bit of track position then. And I think that we can run in the top 5, 6, 7, 8. If we get there, or maybe even better than that. Car's been pretty fast.
Okay, always a pleasure, Frank.
Bill, I'm looking forward to our next golfing engagement.
Yep, it'll be the 24 hours of golf. Back to you, statue hair.
Oh, listen who's talking there, Weber.
I dodged a bullet, Frankie. You'll get plenty of airtime, I promise.
Mike Ford talked about something, the crew chief for Bill Elliott, and talked about track position, and they're going to work toward track position. Jimmy Spencer gave me this morning to tell the folks this is an adjustment, a spring rubber that goes between a spring, and they can put these in or take them out and make the car handle differently. And he also said, but not many people will be changing these or doing anything with these today because you can't afford the time. You can't afford to take the tire off, reach in and pull that thing out, and then put the tire back on, because you lose 2 or 3 cars on the racetrack. You lose track position. So the drivers have to put up with it today. They just got to drive, because the teams are not going to take that time to make any major adjustments.
And we don't want to hear that. Drivers do not want to hear that. They don't want to say, well, move your line. Fix this thing, please.
I can't believe Frankie just slammed you and slammed me, and you wanted to talk about spring rubbers. I'm getting no help here. We're trying to get the track dried so we can go back racing in the Pepsi 400.
They better have something more than that, I'll tell you that.
That's a familiar suit. Well, it's about time Yoakum did some work. Yeah, thank you, Matt. Go back to drying somebody's pit stall, will you? It always comes back to the hair. Next week here on TNT, we move off to Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway in northeastern Tennessee. I got that right this time, thank you. I was looking at the map upside down. Bud Pole qualifying and happy hour both Friday on CNN Sports Illustrated. Then Friday night, it is the NASCAR Busch Series race. From Bristol at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, presented by Cat Reynolds. Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, coverage begins for the Sharpie 500 on TNT from Bristol next weekend. Meantime, we're halfway through today's Pepsi 400 at Michigan. Storylines we've been following through the day for you. Dodge could be the day.
Could be the day. Bill Elliott, Sterling Marlin have very, very good race cars today.
Casey Atwood also in the top 5 with his Ray Evernham Dodge. Bounce backs. Jarrett, after being in the gravel trap twice at Watkins Glen last week, and Rusty Wallace after being the first car out of the race at the Glen.
I would definitely say both those guys have came back in a big way.
Gordon trying for the hat trick. Hockey term, if you're not familiar with it, for 3 goals in the same game. We're using it to apply for 3 in a row.
And right now, Jeff Gordon is struggling. I believe although in his interview, he had optimism. He said he felt like the car was getting better and would be okay, but it looked like he was struggling a little bit.
And this one has certainly played out in a big way.
Yes, fuel mileage, because if it just rained a little bit more, Mark Martin would be in victory lane right now, holding the trophy up.
The drivers have just been called to their cars. Mark Martin, the leader.
The unhappiest man at Michigan International Speedway.
Yes. Was hoping it would get washed out, because about as soon as he climbs in and they roll off, he's going to have to pit for fuel. Bill Elliott probably pretty happy about it, getting a chance to go back racing. Matt, go ahead.
Well, Alan, we're walking back up the grid with Mark Martin. Mark, we were talking a few moments ago. There's another front coming, but you didn't think it was going to get here in time.
Not quite. It's sprinkling right now, but it's not heavy enough. There's just not enough moisture in the air. It was a great try, and it's not over yet, but, you know, it doesn't look real good, but, you know, it's the only shot we had, so we took it, and like I say, it's sprinkling right now, but it needs to get the track wet again. If it would get it wet again, I think that would do them in.
You told me you never won one like this. You've never been handed one like this. Some guys have caught the lucky breaks and got the rain wind, but you never have.
No, but, you know, it's God's will. You know, whatever happens here, it happens for a reason. So we'll take it as it comes, and if they get this thing started again, we'll go to the back and do what we can to try to work our way back up.
Well, the worst Mark Martin will be on this restart will be 21st, because there are only 21 cars still on the lead lap. To Liz.
Well, here we are heading to the cars. Did you think this time would ever get here, Mike?
I'm glad. You know, we decided to take our low Chevrolet and pit early as soon as we knew they were throwing the caution for rain, and we got a lap down early, but we should be starting up pretty close to the front and maybe salvage a decent run out of this.
Now, we know you're trying to recover from an accident that you had. How are you feeling, and how's your stamina? That was a concern of yours coming into this weekend.
Stamina seems to be good. Michigan's not real physical on you, though, but I feel really good right now. My leg's hurting a little bit, but we expected that. I think we'll be good. And this was a good exercise for us before we go to Bristol. Next weekend's going to be pretty tough, but seeing you guys talking about Wally, I know things about Wally. I could hurt him.
I'm sweating right now.
We need the dirt. Come on, give us the dirt. Wally, I'm going to bail you out of this one. Alan, you better take it from here.
He got off the hook, too.
Well, I know some things on Skinner, too, so.
No, there you go. Quid pro quo. Burton brothers heading toward their cars. We're looking for a restart on the Pepsi 400 shortly. A break first. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Back at the Michigan International Speedway, car covers are off, drivers are buckling in. And we are getting set to resume this Pepsi 400 and finish, hopefully, all of the final 200 miles. Just joining us, Mark Martin staying out on track, stretching his fuel mileage as rain closed in. Everybody else had to make pit stops. He was the leader when it started raining. We ran a couple of caution laps, and the race was red flagged at halfway with Martin doing the rain dance. But it doesn't look like it's going to hold out for him. And we will get this thing back underway, it looks like, momentarily. And Mark's going to have to pit very quickly for fuel, handing the lead back to Bill Elliott. Pit Road and Dave Burns.
You know, Alan, if people have been watching our broadcast since the rain started, they might think that we've aired enough dirty laundry about Wally. But apparently you thought that maybe Bill Davis had something more to say about that. So what was it that Wally said a couple weeks ago about you and Gail and motorcycle riding, Bill?
Well, on the way to Pocono, Gail had a little accident on a motorcycle. And, so Friday during the qualifying show, Wally was just, couldn't believe that that happened because, you know, Gail was such a far superior motorcycle rider to Bill, and, you know, just couldn't imagine how she could have had an accident. And, you know, okay, I just thought that I'd point out the fact that, in my opinion, Robin Dallenbach is a much better race car driver than Wally.
Really?
Oh.
Really?
Oh,
now, from years of experience, she's been doing lots of different driving and really has the talent over Wally, huh?
Oh, yeah, far and away. You know, she hadn't had to have his kids. She'd have him covered hands down.
Well, there you have it. So we've learned a lot today about Robin and Wally and underwear, and now who's the better racer?
Well,
Alan?
All I can say is that's pretty obvious, or I'd be racing.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Boy, we have managed to air all the dirty laundry, insult everyone, but it's been fun.
Yes, you know, I raced against Robin one time at the Meadowlands, just out of New York, in a road race.
Really?
Robin's a good driver.
She beat me.
Yeah. There you go.
I had to have kids or I wasn't going to have a job. He was going to be the racer in the family.
All right. So we're looking for a restart here very shortly. The track drying just about complete. Little peek out the window. They've got 5 jet dryers out there, and they're all working the backstretch for the most part, trying to finish that up. That's the flattest part of the racetrack, and that's where most of the concern is, that right down on the apron.
And, you know, something else, too. These guys been adjusting on their cars to the racetrack all day. And now we start all over with the green racetrack. They have made adjustments as the track got more and more grip. Now all that rubber's gone again, so it's going to be tricky for a lot of guys that made maybe the wrong adjustment.
How about it, Dave?
Well, Wally, when I was Alan, when I was talking with Matt Kenseth about his car, he said when his car was the worst, it was right after the Busch Series race yesterday. So what Matt likes about the rain is that it's gone back to more of a green condition where his car has worked better. Again, after the Busch Series race, there was a lot of rubber, a lot of oil on the track. It was real greasy, and his car handled poorly. Now he's looking to this as an advantage.
Something else for the crew chiefs to keep in mind, too. We have enough daylight to finish the final 200 miles, but we saw some more green on that radar. How much more of this race will get finished? That could be an interesting factor, too. Getting ready for a restart in the Pepsi 400 at Michigan. We'll come back in a moment. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
And we welcome you back to Michigan, the site of the Pepsi 400, still under a red flag for rain. Track drying procedures continue, and when we go green, Mark Martin will pit and Bill Elliott will lead. Ray Evernham is his car owner. What are your chances?
Don't know. Rusty's pretty fast. 32 car's pretty fast. Hopefully we've made the adjustments. Bill's car's gotten a little bit tight on us. this rain is going to change everything again, so we'll see. Hopefully we'll make the right adjustments and keep the Dodge up front.
Ray, you found out about the change to the nose of the Dodge before Indianapolis. You had very little time to work on that and on the overall balance. You basically went to Watkins Glen, as we talked about earlier this week, taking what you could get, pointing toward this race.
Yeah, Bill runs good here, and our cars perform well at Indianapolis, and we've just got to try and get that balance. You know, we're creeping up towards the front. Now we've just got to find out how to keep them there all day.
Have you been able to make strides toward that?
I think we have, but, you know, putting a new program together takes a lot more than just a fast car. We've been working on our engines. The guys at the engine shop are doing an awesome job, and, you know, there's pit stops, there's chassis setups, there's communication, and as long as everything keeps improving every week, I feel like someday we'll get our shot. Maybe it's today.
And there's fuel mileage as well. How's that?
Well, our fuel mileage isn't good, but I'm on the guys to make power, and to make power, you got to burn fuel, so hopefully we'll get in the right cycle where it works out for us at the end.
You're very focused as an individual, certainly so as a car owner, but the last few weeks I have seen you smile in the garage, Ray. You feel things are you're getting closer, things are getting more solid, a firmer foundation?
I think they are. We're getting more and more blocks of the foundation in anyway, and I see the guys making some good decisions on their own, and a lot of things are, you know, it's been a busy time, but I see a lot of people, my support group is really getting strong, and that's what it's going to need. So the stronger that gets, the more I can smile.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
It's Ray Evernham, car owner for Bill Elliott and Casey Atwood. Cars begin to roll, and we go to Dave.
And Bill, we were watching the weather radar down here at the NASCAR trailer, and it's just coming back on right now. What we're looking at is right where the speedway arrow is, and you'll see it run right by. There's a big cell right behind that, and the experts here from the Chip Ganassi team and one of the Roush Racing teams are telling me, oh, as it goes away again. That's just our luck right here. That cell is swooping back toward the speedway. We're a little concerned about that. That's what they've been watching, so don't know if we're out of the woods yet, but we'll keep an eye on it. Alan?
And it went away because they're going to update it and get a fresher radar pulled up.
So this could be a sprint race. Yeah. I mean, you got to run now like there's only 10 laps to go. May only be 10 laps to go.
And see Mark Martin, this car here on the bottom of the racetrack, he can't drive up on the bank of the racetrack because it's 18 degrees. If he does that, all the fuel will run down to the left side of the gas tank, and there's no pickup there, so he probably would run out of fuel up on the bank.
And the pickup is on the right side of the gas tank because when they run that banking at speed, the centrifugal force throws all the gasoline to the right.
10-4. All right, folks, earlier today, because of the quick start, you did not get to see my lap around the speedway. So let's go to Thunder Motion. It's powered by the technology of EA Sports.
Oh, Benny with the punt on Dale Jarrett.
You like that, huh?
Oh.
All right, let's go down the, where are we? Front stretch. Yes. Down the pit road on the outside of Bobby Labonte. 3-1. Oh, Labonte, did you see him go up and try to broom me, knock me on the wall? All right, high through the corner. And this is a really tricky spot on the racetrack. Off turn 2. See how tricky it is?
It's raining there.
Well, it was, but just go up and glance off the wall. Turn 3 in the middle of the racetrack. But you see how loose I got going in the corner? That's another concern at Michigan. Get it in the corner, the car gets loose, and they get tight as you come off the corner. Now then, down the start-finish line, and bye, Bobby Labonte. See you, Bobby.
And pit road is open as the field comes to the opening, and so much for Mark Martin's hold on the lead in the Pepsi 400. If it opens up and rains right now, he's lost the race.
Also, Jeremy Mayfield, another car that had not pitted, is making his way down pit road. Matt?
Well, Benny, the worst that Mark Martin should be on this restart is 21st. He told us on his way back to his car that he does have a good car at the beginning of a run, so he's hoping to make up some lost time early. They are going to make a 4-tire stop and pack that fuel cell full of fuel. Sean Parker going to work in the left rear. Robert Benfield on the front. Martin down and away to Bill.
Steve Park is on pit road and now leaves door-to-door with Mark Martin. Park, as we talked about during the rain delay, not getting very good fuel mileage. So he came in and just topped off, and now he will be at the end of the lead line.
See, the stop and go man has the paddle out that said stop. So now he's turned it around. When all the cars on the racetrack go by, now these cars, Mark Martin, Steve Park, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. can go on the racetrack and fall in behind all the cars that stayed on the speedway.
So basically everybody that came in here, except for Mark Martin and Mayfield, who needed fuel anyway, everybody else that came in felt like they couldn't make the finish on one more stop. Everybody that stayed out felt like they're good on one more stop. 1,000 feet above the Michigan International Speedway today, the Budweiser.com airship. Brought to you by Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer.
Alan, I just want to pass along some of the notes from down here on pit road. Some of the guys talking to their drivers, crew chiefs talking to drivers over the radio. And I think the bigger concern, rather than making it to the end, is not giving up track position. There's an overwhelming feeling that while this race is about to resume, we may not get in the full 400 miles. And a lot of these guys stayed out because they didn't want to give up track position, and they feel they may not actually stop before this race ends, just based on the weather predictions right now.
Yeah, if this thing were to go a full 400 miles, 200 laps, a lot of cars would have to stop twice. Bill Elliott probably included in that group, because they've got to run 100 more laps.
Yeah, so they just gassed up at 100. They'd stop at 150 and be good to 200, right?
Elliott didn't stop, though. He stopped at a lap 95 or something.
So he'll be up for a splash and dash.
Yeah, lap 90 on the 9 car, lap 90.
And you may see some guys come in when they give the one to go.
Fans haven't left.
No, they're all here.
And we're glad you haven't left either, because based on what we've seen in the first half of the race, it should be a good one. And with the weather hanging overhead,
I'm told that Bill Elliott stopped on lap 90. See, they're raising the hood on the 28 car to see if they can figure out what might have happened, because the 28 car is running on 7 cylinders. Matt?
Well, Benny, we told you before that red flag that they were hoping to get that 28 car to pit road so Doug Yates and Robert Yates could take a look at that engine, see what, if anything, they could do. Remember, Ricky said it was something in the valve train. Second in points, are trying to win a championship. Ricky has never won one. In 26 years of Winston Cup competition, the 44-year-old feels like this 2018 will be his best shot. And remember, the 29 car, who just now pulls away, Kevin Harvick, he said during the red flag he too had an engine problem. He'd lost a cylinder. As Doug Yates, they put the hood down. Frankie Good helps put the hood pins in. Robert's going to confer things over, see what they're going to come up with here, but certainly controlled chaos down here. Taking their time as now Ricky pulls away. But you can definitely hear that 28 car has a sick engine.
And Todd Bodine's going to be coming back in.
Oh, yeah, because that is not part of the car. That's an adjustment tool that they use to make a chassis adjustment, and Todd left so quickly that the guy was not able to jerk that out of the vehicle. So he's got to come back down pit road and the crewman take that out. And we need to be sure and have the camera on the guy that goes and takes that out, so we can point him out and say, that's the guy that made the mistake.
Oh, you're heartless, BP.
That would be a cruel trick.
Well, yes, he's learning. He's learning. And we're going to see it.
All right, so Todd Bodine coming in, 26th position. He was the first car 2 laps down.
If you're going to do it, now's a good time to make that mistake, because if that would have been under green, he would have lost 2 laps.
Check that. He was one of the first cars 1 lap down, but now he's lost a lot of ground.
Do you want to circle him?
He kind of jerked that out with some anger, didn't he?
Waiting to see if they'll get the 1-to-go signal when they come back around next time, as they're pulling all the track drying equipment off of the speedway. Meantime, let's check with Dave Burns.
Quick update on Jeremy Mayfield. He had to stop and took a long time on pit road because he ran out of gas on the lap when they went back to the track. So he pulled it in very slowly, took a long time in the pits to get the motor refired, and he's back out. And by the way, they wanted to pass along their best wishes to a crew member, Derek White, who was injured earlier this year at New Hampshire. Derek sitting at home and watching the race and recuperating from his injuries following the race there. And Derek just wanted to say, too, he passed along the fact that a lot of fans have sent cards and letters to him, and he really appreciates that. He's going to undergo some therapy for the next 2 to 3 months and then should be able to return to light duty at the shop. In fact, he's already been to the shop a couple of times, but they had to tell him, Derek, go home, not yet, but we want you back as soon as we can. Let's go to Liz Allison.
You know, talking about updates, Sean Parker's wife, Tara, of course, had the heart transplant a while back, and we've tried to keep everybody abreast on that. She is still in the hospital. Sean says she's doing very well, that she's just trying to take care of herself and trying to fine-tune that new heart. But we certainly send our best wishes to her, and again, a speedy recovery for her. Matt?
And Doug Yates has conferred with his father, Robert Yates. Doug, what's the verdict?
We think we have a problem with the valve train. It's probably nothing we can fix right now. We'll just have to keep riding, and maybe the rain or something will help us out.
If you have to go the distance, can your car make it the distance?
I mean, sometimes they can go a long ways like this. It's just it's unfortunate that we had such a fast car and had a problem.
Remember, this team was second back in June as Jimmy Spencer's on pit road for gas and 4 tires, Marty.
Well, guys, one of the problems with rain is that it often plays havoc with the electrical systems inside the race car. That's been the case for Jeff Burton and his team. They have lost radio communication with Jeff. Jeff can hear them. They cannot hear Jeff. So it'll be a very difficult day for Jeff Burton and his team the rest of the day trying to communicate what's going on with the race car.
Especially on a day when the track conditions have changed so much, that car's going to need adjustments when it makes its final pit stop or stops. We are on 1 to go. Jimmy Spencer, the 9th place car, was the first of the lead lap machines to come down for a top off of the fuel tank. Mark Martin, who was the leader at the red flag, is back in 15th position. And the top 5 are Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Craven, Casey Atwood, and Sterling Marlin. Followed by Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon, Matt Kenseth, Jeff Burton, and Dave Blaney. There will be 95 laps to go.
Ron Hornaday there in the 14 Conseco car going to restart in first gear. Had that baby up. He's going to see that thing up in first gear. That's one reason he gets such a great stop. Most guys will restart in second.
After 1 hour, 45 minutes and 40 seconds under the red flag for rain, the pace car is off. The weather is still looming. And the better part of 136,000 are still here and on their feet. Here we go. Stacy Compton is on the tail end of the lead lap. 3rd car in line, Bill Elliott is the leader.
Second car in line is Kenny Schrader.
Schrader also trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. But here comes Elliott.
Watch, see what a 2-car, he's going to pick up a big draft. He did already, but he was about 5 car lengths back getting on before. All those cars were spread out in front of him. He got right up to Bill Elliott's bumper.
And there goes Elliott on the inside of Stacy Compton, and Rusty Wallace is going to try to follow.
Wally, what's it like? You've been sitting there for almost 2 hours while they drive the track, while it rained. Now you got to get back in, get right back up to speed.
It's just like a switch. These guys, it's just like they've never stopped. Once those motors fire up, these guys are programmed right back to where they left off.
And here comes Rusty Wallace for the lead.
That was strong right there.
That was so impressive. That 2-car just blew by Bill Elliott down the front stretch.
Ricky Craven in 3rd, trying to clear some of the lap traffic and keep up. Third time today, Rusty Wallace has led. And let's check speeds at the line.
Oh, check that out. 183 for Rusty. 181.9 for Ricky Craven.
Sterling Marlin back in 5th position. Got a lot of lap traffic around him. It's Casey Atwood in the 19 right in front of him in 4th. 90, Hut Strickland a lap down. 31, Skinner a lap down. The 01, Leffler a lap down.
And you see Sterling using a lap car there to help draft by Casey Atwoods. He got on the backside of Hutch Strickland. That helped pull him by the 19 car. 2 cars are faster than 1.
4th place for Marlin. Leffler and Skinner are racing for 24th and 25th. And Schrader's in that race too. He's in 23rd. So 3 Dodges in the top 5 at this point. And 2 Fords the other pair. Wallace and Craven in 1st and 3rd. And here comes Craven for 2nd.
Down the backstretch, he has position on Bill Elliott. But he can't take it off down in there and pull that slide job that he needs to.
Craven has not yet led the race today, even though he started on pole.
And you see when a 32 pulled down like that? The reason he did that, if you're about a half a car length off the other guy, you're getting the wave of air off that guy you're racing. You want to get down at the bottom of the racetrack so you have clean air. You're not having to push through your air as well as the other cars.
Here at Michigan International Speedway, courtesy of the United States Army, an Army of 1.
Rusty Wallace has pulled away from Bill Elliott by 2 1/3 seconds.
Rusty Wallace ran a 39.7 second lap last time by. Bill Elliott was a 40.2, half a second faster.
Wow. Man, that 32 car is strong on the straightaway.
So it's obvious that Rusty's car is better than his golf shot at this point.
Yes, it is.
Here's Craven again. A little slide job.
Baby, you're the band. Clear all around.
That'd be Fat Boy.
Yes, it would.
Ricky Craven spotter.
Does anybody know what Fat Boy's real name is?
Donnie Epling. Now Bill Elliott's going to try the bottom line and see if it'll work down there. And I just love this driver's going top,
clear all around.
Trying to find that best line, that line that allows that car to run the maximum speed.
But while these guys are messing around, Rusty Wallace is leaving him by half a second a lap. Johnny Benson's just passed Matt Kenseth for 8th. Mark Martin has moved up to 12th. He's gotten around Steve Park and Ron Hornaday. How about the leader, Bill?
Well, Rusty Wallace, Allen, is trying to go from worst to first. Last week when we raced at Watkins Glen, this is the hose fitting that failed on his Miller Lite Ford. This is the actual fitting. The hose came loose, the water came out, Rusty's engine expired, he finished 43rd. We told you that his PR guy, Tom Roberts, is not here this weekend. But here's one guy that is here this weekend that a lot of people thought may not be. This is Roger Purcell. He's the mechanic whose responsibility it is for checking this fitting. When I walked into their garage here on Friday morning, I didn't say a word. He just said it was my responsibility. I talked to crew chief Robin Pemberton. I said, you know, a lot of guys didn't think Roger would be here this week. He goes, when you put all that time and all that money into one guy to make him that good, you don't fire him for making one mistake. It was one mistake. Robin said, I'm confident it will never happen again. They're also confident because they have changed the way they attach that hose. The fitting is now permanently mounted to the end of the hose, so that problem should never happen again. If Rusty goes from worst to first, the second happiest guy on the planet is Roger Purcell.
That's exactly what he told me when I walked in the garage, Jerry. My bad. That's my job. I'm supposed to make sure I put the wrench on it, but obviously I had the wrench against something. I didn't get that fitting tight.
Johnny Benson has just passed Jeff Gordon for 7th place. Tony Stewart looking ahead. Remember, Stewart ran out of gas under the green earlier. He's back in 27th place, 1 lap down.
Tony is racing with the 96 car. Andy Houston, the McDonald's car, for position. Bobby Labonte, the 18 car, also racing these fellas for position. Once again, 26, 27, 28. And there comes Kenseth.
Solid day for Kenseth. Started back in 33rd place. He's up in 9th now, trying to catch Jeff Gordon for 8th. Right behind him, Dave Blaney. Just behind Kenseth. That's a race for position as well. Blaney's in 10th spot. He started at the back of the field also. He started in 41st.
Matt Kenseth has taken the DeWalt car to the bottom of the racetrack. We've seen him up high all day, but a lot of cars up high, so he said, I'll just try it on the bottom and see what happens. Oh, he squeezed in between, right in front of Bobby Labonte.
Not sure that was a by choice move either. It looked like that car just kind of jumped up the hill on him.
Yeah, it kind of went where that car wanted to go, and Matt wisely let it go there.
From Bobby Labonte's car.
Kenseth on the inside of Jeff Gordon.
Kyle Petty also racing with Labonte and Stewart for position 1 lap down. And here comes Kenseth for that 8th position.
Clear high, get up in there.
Yeah, Mike Kalanoff, the spotter for Matt Kenseth, saying it's clear up. Just get in there. Drive it up that hole. Man, look at him go somewhere, will you?
Jeff Gordon said the track was coming to him before the rain. Obviously, we're back to where we started at the beginning of the race when he wasn't that good. 3rd place.
Bill Elliott, we're riding on board with him as he looks out the rear bumper. Sterling Marlin, the Coors Light car, going by on the inside. Stacy Compton, the 92, is a lap down.
Fender outside. One car on the bottom up here.
Uh-oh. Looks like Kevin Harvick is really slow in the 29 car.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too good either.
It sounds like it's trying to tear itself apart, doesn't it?
And you know, sometimes when you don't know what's broke, you don't know if it's a valve spring or whatever, they will run for a long time. But if there's a piece of metal floating around there and it gets down inside, then it will blow up.
Got to run a minimum speed on these tracks. The one today, minimum lap time is a 45.62 second lap. Harvick is keeping that up for now.
Oh, and Ricky Rudd finally, as the engine has expired on the 28.
Tell clear to come down.
Like I said.
Yeah, like you said.
Sometimes they'll go and sometimes they...
Get down when you can. Get down anytime. Got a big clearing.
Second caution of the race, Ricky Rudd. 2nd place man in the championship.
You're coming by you. Just stay on the bottom.
Rusty Wallace said, oh, man, I didn't want to see that.
Go to the garage, Rooster.
Michael,
you guys want him in the garage stall? Hey, quit running. I'll take it, right, Ricky?
I believe Ricky's got that radio unplugged already. That's too bad. Bitter disappointment.
Yeah, 10-4 Frank.
For that man.
Yeah, he takes that stuff personal.
Yes.
He just hates it when something, his engines especially, his engines that he and Doug just love working on and love making that horsepower.
Well, they do. They build good engines.
And so Ricky Rudd goes to the garage. He'll become just the 2nd driver out. Kurt Busch.
Do you want me in the stall or you want me at the truck? It's completely clear, Ricky. Shut it off. It must just knocked a hole in the piston or something. It was still running. Come to the stall, Ricky, and we'll push it to the truck if they change it.
So there you go. All right, you pit?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Bill Elliott's been out there for 30 laps, so yeah, he pits.
Okay. 78 laps to go here.
You got to stop again anyway.
Stop again, yep.
But they can make it now on one more stop after this one, so I think he'll stop, adjust the car, change tires.
Got 19 cars on the lead lap at this point.
I don't think Rusty's going to change much.
You see, the Sterling Marlin did, in fact, get by Bill Elliott for that
Sure you want to do this?
third position.
What's going to happen?
Yeah, what's it doing?
In they come.
Coming at you.
Couldn't have waited much longer to make that call.
Got you. Pit road, everybody's with him. Do the best we can.
I think Rusty was questioning that just a little bit.
50.
Bill Weber.
Well, they clearly thought about it right up until the very last second, but this is expected to be a 4-tire change. If we go the distance, it opens the door for other possibilities down the stretch. 2 tires, fuel only. Chassis very good. The car very stout. The driver very confident. 4 tires and fuel for Rusty Wallace and the Miller Lite Ford, trying to successfully defend in the Pepsi 400 here at Michigan. Marty?
Ricky Craven already away with 2 tires and fuel for Ricky Craven, the second-place car. His chassis also very good, Bill. They are very happy down here, and there's a report of rain in the area. They're going for the win.
And Rusty Wallace is going to be mired back in traffic after that 4-tire stop.
Bill Elliott was first away from pit road. Marty?
And 2 tires also for Bill Elliott, I would have to say, Alan. We'll get up there and check that out. But he beat Ricky Craven off, who also took 2 tires.
Steve Park got out 3rd. Dave Blaney got out 4th. Jimmy Spencer off of 5th. Then Sterling Marlin 6th. Then you get back to Rusty Wallace. And there is a shower reported very nearby the Speedway, the Drama Building here in Michigan.
The Pepsi 400 from Michigan International Speedway on TNT is brought to you by the joy of Pepsi. By Pep Boys, all you need to know is where to go. Pep Boys. By Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. By Conseco. Step up. And by KFC.
Here at the Michigan International Speedway, we are less than a lap from the restart. Ron Hornaday is now the leader. Hornaday, Elliott Sadler, and Jeremy Mayfield did not stop under the caution flag, though Sadler just came back in a minute ago, so something went wrong there. Dave, how about Ron Hornaday?
You just got to pull up and let them all pass you. You got to let them all go.
Dave?
Alan, there's a reason that was a radio transmission to Ron Hornaday. The reason he talked about letting him up and passing him is because Ron lost a cylinder on about lap 120. That was only 5 laps ago. Think about that. They were in position to use this fuel strategy, and all of a sudden they have a car that won't stay up front. So now they're really banking on the fact that we get a downpour and Ron stays in front.
Well, if he's down a cylinder, that's...
He needs to drop back right now.
Bill, how about Elliott Sadler? What happened there?
Well, they were going to stay out. Pat Trison and the crew and Elliott talked it over. They were going to stay out and hope that the weather and their fuel mileage helped them out, because remember, they pitted just before we went back to green after the red flag. Then they talked it over. They saw everybody else had come in. They said, you know, we got to run 400 miles here. We got to plan on that. So came down pit road, got 4 tires and fuel, and we're going green.
Okay, now you see Ron went to the middle. That was the right thing to do. Left that high line open for all the guys on the lead lap.
So Jeremy Mayfield is now the leader. Bill Elliott is second.
Ricky Craven is the 3rd-place car. That white car right in the middle, Jeremy Mayfield, the 12, is the leader.
And the 2 cars in front of him, Ken Schrader and Ward Burton, are on the tail end of the lead lap. Open for a quick caution. Not quick enough for Ward. Get lost in all the lap traffic.
And they go in the corner 3 wide. The 96 on the bottom, 31 in the middle, the 66 and the 22 up high. And Ward struggling, and Ricky Craven just squeezes his car in between the 2.
Wow. Ricky Rudd's car has been reported out of the race. He is done.
Battle for the lead. Here comes Elliott. But Jeremy Mayfield comes off the corner, gets a good run. Bill cannot pull up on the outside.
And Kevin Harvick has just taken his car to the garage. He's going to be the third driver out of the race.
Shows you how good the tires are right now. Jeremy's on older tires. Bill Elliott's on brand new. Well, half of them are new.
Right sides are new anyway.
Right sides are new.
Here comes Elliott. He's got to run. And takes the lead. And he knew that he needed to get going because the 32 car, Craven, has cleared himself of the traffic. And he looked in the mirror and all the spotters told him, Bill, you got to go because that 32 is fast and he's coming.
Let's go hear from Ricky Rudd. He's with Dave Burns.
And he is just about ready to head out of here. Ricky, your 50th start at Michigan, not the way you wanted it to end. What happened?
Well, something broke in the motor. You know, it's really strong. Up until the rain delay, I think we led 51 laps, which was more than anybody else, and we were hoping for it to continue to rain because we were going to end up 14th. But, you know, we knew we were pretty much doomed when we restarted that race, and we thought we could limp around here and finish. Unfortunately, the motor finished breaking the rest of the way.
All right, we'll let him get out of here. And Bill Allen, I understand more action on the track.
Here's the challenge for second spot. Ricky Craven is tucked underneath Jeremy Mayfield.
Jeremy's not giving that position up too easy.
No, he isn't.
Rusty Wallace has made no progress since the restart. Bill, what's going on?
Just be smooth.
Well, the situation there is that engine is starting to go sour. Rusty down to 7, they believe, right now. So still out there limping around, but not good for the Miller Lite Ford. And Rusty Wallace had very high hopes. Robin Pemberton and company really thought they'd get a trip to victory lane, perhaps, at this track, but doesn't look like it's going to happen today.
Man, oh man, we have seen some engine attrition today.
And a little bit of it since the weather change. How much related to the cars sitting there and cooling down in the wet? You think any of it?
I think mostly was gear ratio, turning the thing. A lot of RPMs down that front straightaway.
And just to clarify, I understand Rudd and Harvick's engines broke before the rain delay, but Ron Hornaday, now Rusty since the rain.
Is it like a rocker arm or a valve or something?
Hard to say, isn't it, Rusty? All he knows when he pushes the gas pedal down, it doesn't go like it did.
They're out driving him on the straightaway right now. That's all he knows.
Yeah.
Dave Burns, Kevin Harvick has taken his car to the garage.
And the question, Alan, is how broke is it? That's why Kevin is still in the car, and car owner Richard Childress, along with the crew, are looking over the motor. They want to make sure that it's not something very simple and that they might be able to send him back out and get a few more laps before they get Kevin out of the car and retire it. So that's what's happening down here in the 29 pit.
Fourth and fifth place, Sterling Marlin and Dave Blaney.
And the second place, a battle for second between Craven, the 12 of Mayfield, and the 40 car, and some contact and a 3 wide for second spot.
Mayfield with a little gesture out the window.
Those guys have been going at it real hard.
Craven with the slide up in front. Marty, how about Ricky Craven?
Yeah, they've been going toe-to-toe for a couple of laps now, Alan. Ricky Craven on the radio, very upset with Jeremy Mayfield. Said he ran into him intentionally off of turn 2, so he paid the favor back just a little bit on the front stretch. These two going at it.
Meantime, Sterling Marlin's going by both of them.
And Jeremy Mayfield's going to try to go by both of them.
3 deep behind him. All lap cars. Then you've got Steve Park and Matt Kenseth mixed up in that, racing for a spot on the lead lap. Storylines we followed throughout the day. Is this Dodgers day? Well, they're looking pretty good right now with 3 of them in the top 5.
Whoa. The 88 car got a little bit loose over there.
And here comes Mark Martin back after the disappointment of the race restarting and not winning. at the 100-lap mark, trying to fight his way back.
Still out there. 10 cars with you.
That's 8th
Still
place
there.
he's just taken from Steve Park. Look at this.
Wow. And Johnny Benson, he's right. He's with him.
Those that we talked about at the very top of our show, what seems like a long time ago now.
Lots of grooves.
Favorite racetrack. Plenty of room to race. They're using it all. Spencer starting to roll back up through. He's in 10th place. But all of this is going on well behind Bill Elliott. The race leader is 2.1 seconds up on Sterling Marlin. There are 64 laps to go in the Pepsi 400. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. The Budweiser.com airship is overhead the Michigan Speedway today, reminding all race fans that Budweiser is NASCAR's official beer. NASCAR on TNT is live from Brooklyn, Michigan. You are watching the Pepsi 400 down to its final 80 miles. Alan Bestwick with Benny Parsons, Wally Dallenbach, and our entire TNT NASCAR crew. Thanks for hanging with us. An hour and 45-minute rain delay stopped this event right at its halfway point, but we're still charging right along with 80 miles to go. Lethal Weapon coming up immediately after the conclusion of our race today. It is Bill Elliott who is out in front. He's led 54 of the 141 laps so far. But Sterling Marlin is closing quickly in 2nd place.
This guy, I'm telling you earlier, happy hour, he looked the best to me. And whatever they did that last stop, they have dialed this car in because he is eating Bill up right now about 0.3 of a second.
One of these guys wins today. It's going to break a long dry spell.
Yes, both of these guys need a victory about as bad as these folks in Michigan needed rain. So,
well, they got some for a while today. May get some more.
About 2 more laps, Bud. Draft all you can.
A lot of the teams have got somebody keeping an eye on the weather radar.
Oh, here's a battle for position. Jeff Gordon, Steve Park, Jimmy Spencer. Battle for 10th. Heard Tony Glover tell Sterling Marlin to draft all he could. He needed about 2 more laps, 2 extra laps before they could stop again.
And that's to make it to the scheduled finishing distance on just one more visit to pit road. How about the racing we're seeing after the restart? That's the reward for sticking around.
I'm telling you, this has been fantastic.
All over this racetrack.
Jeff Gordon and Spencer battling for the 10th position.
Gordon not very good when we first went back racing, but now the track getting a little rubber into it. Conditions seem to be coming to his car's liking, and he's just digging and digging. Picking his way back through.
He's got that low line working for him. A lot of the other cars are up high. And he needs a little help.
He's so good at finding the line his car likes on a racetrack. Hunting whatever the groove that his car wants the best.
Oh, DJ! Almost. He's almost like he's got a flat tire.
Flat tire.
Into the wall.
Left rear is flat. There you go. And Sterling needs to pass a 9 if he can, just in case it starts raining.
No caution.
Oh, okay. Well,
no caution. We stay under green. Dale Jarrett did get to pit road, and here comes Marlin on Elliott.
And there goes Elliott back on the outside. Here's where Sterling's going to really, he needs to be good. Off the corner, on the accelerator.
Now we'll see if the Coors car gets right up against that 9-car Bill Elliott, or he drops way down to get away. But Bill wouldn't let him get away.
Dale Jarrett on pit road, Bill.
Yeah, they're going to start on the right side, Allen, and come around to the left. The left rear is flat. It'll be 4 tires, a lengthy stop, and he'll be back out on the track. We're losing a lot of points once again. Back to the action on the track.
Boy, talk about luck not being with you. Dale Jarrett, another problem. Right now, he's in 19th and falling.
Now, I'm sure, Alan, you have this information. 40 cars on 4 tires? 2 tires. Okay, so they're both on even tires right now.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, oh, look at that great run that Sterling got, and he'll pull up in front of Bill Elliott. And I don't know but what Elliott might have let the 40 car go, because while they were racing, trying to battle for that lead spot, the 32 car was coming.
And just to clarify, the 40 is on 4 tires. 4 tires on their last stop for Sterling Marlin.
He's on 4, okay.
That makes the difference right there.
All right, I misheard before.
See the 32 car very, very high on the racetrack, but getting closer and closer.
Smooth, concentrate, hit all your marks.
Tony Glover talking to Sterling.
Bill's car looks a little bit tight right there. Sterling can get a little bit lower down that corner. Carries a little bit more speed through the center.
And that last lap, the 32 car gained 2/10, about 0.15 of a second on the 40 of Sterling Marlin.
They all better look in the mirror, because Matt Kenseth has just moved to 4th place around Dave Blaney, and he is as fast as Marlin.
Wow, he's only a 2 3/4 behind.
Here he comes. That's Kenseth, top of the frame. How about it for Kenseth, Dave?
A great run, obviously, Alan. Right now, they radioed out to Matt, though, and they said, hey, you've got a piece of paper on the lower right front of the grill that's covering up the airflow. Matt, watch your water temperatures. The problem for Matt would be, if that water temperature gets above 230 or so, he starts losing horsepower, and that paper right now is keeping the cool air from getting to the radiator and cooling that motor.
The biggest problem he's got right now is that piece of plastic on the upper grill, not that piece of paper.
He's got a bunch of junk on there.
He really does. You see, right in the middle of the grill is a piece of plastic that's not allowing the air to go through.
Well, he's had such a great run today. I hope something like that wouldn't affect his finish.
And there's DJ on the bottom. That was DJ, wasn't it? Slow.
33rd place is Jarrett, 2 laps down.
Well, I'm sure when he made contact with the wall up in turns 3 and 4 that it injured the car to the point that he can't drive it very well. And look at Ricky Craven, still very, very high on the racetrack, trying to get by Bill Elliott.
Craven's team starting to come on lately. Top 10 finishes in their last 2 oval track races. 10th at Pocono, 9th at Indianapolis. Marty, he's strong right now.
Oh, he's terrific, Alan, and the sign of a very good driver. Craven is searching for the best line on the racetrack, and he has found that the very highest line as he passes Bill Elliott now for second is what's working for him. He's going through 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 at the very top of the groove, almost at the wall, but that's working for these guys right now. Today, Burns.
4-tire pit stop for Ward Burton. They've been fighting a bad push all day long. This will now put them in the final fuel window. They can make it all the way at this point.
And obviously waiting on every bit of that fuel to get in the car.
But the gas man didn't wait till the car went down and chased the car. And Frankie Stoddard, we were talking about that, and that's what he said at Indy when he said he couldn't make it, that the gas man didn't chase the car down pit road. When the car is jacked up on the left side, there is an air pocket up in the left corner of that gas tank, and you might miss putting a half gallon of fuel in that car.
Craven has taken second from Elliott, getting reports there are some drops of rain. Bill?
Absolutely, Alan. Beginning to feel sprinkles, lightly sprinkling just here on pit road. They have conveyed that to Sterling Marlin as well, but Wally, as you know, the driver's one of the first guys that knows it.
Yeah, well, I'll guarantee you Sterling is the first one that knows it. And Ricky Craven saying, no, it's not raining, it's dry.
NASCAR has spotters at different locations around the speedway. There's radio traffic now from the control tower to those spotters. There's the interval from the leader Marlin to 4th place Matt Kenseth. Not much.
Not much is right. And look at the 10 car on the inside, trying to get on the inside of Dave Blaney. Johnny Benson in the 10, Blaney in the 93.
That's for 5th place. 2 cars behind them are not on the lead lap. Skinner and Bobby Labonte. You're in 18th and 19th, the first two, 1 lap down.
And Blaney thought he was low on the racetrack. And imagine when he looks up and sees the 10 car trying to get underneath him.
Here's third place. Matt Kenseth has caught Bill Elliott. Just past the 300-mile mark. How much more of it are we going to get in? Here's Benson. He's got the run on Blaney.
Mike Skinner looking back at the 18 car, and Benson finally makes that move, that pass on the 93. Moves him in the 5th.
See that on the camera lens?
Yep.
Tony Glover's lobbying the NASCAR officials in his pit.
And he's getting help from his driver on the radio. Sterling really getting a very detailed weather report. You can imagine what he's telling them.
Ricky Craven is right there.
Closing in. Caution. Caution's coming out for rain.
Caution down.
They're racing back to the yellow flag. Is this the end of the event? The lap car of Ron Hornaday has just come off of pit road. And Marlin's going to get to the caution first.
And that, you know, that's a tough call. I mean, NASCAR knows well enough that you can't run these tires in any kind of dampness.
Come on, rain. Tony says, come on, rain, please.
Definitely some rain coming here, Glove.
Spotter up on the roof with a look around. July 1996.
Okay, how many laps on tires?
Was the last time that Sterling Marlin won a NASCAR Winston Cup race. Been even longer for Dodge.
And you know, that sponsor right there has been around for a long time, BP Coors Light, and it's been even longer. I said they've been in victory lane.
18 more laps. I don't think we can stop, do you?
Oh,
I don't see no reason to stop it. Give it away if it rains.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, this is really a big decision right now.
Man, there's no way that 40 car is going to come in. I don't think
so either, especially with the rain on the racetrack. But some of those guys in the back, Jeff Burton, the 77 car, Robert Presley, 21, Elliott Sadler, they may stop and change tires.
17 cars on the lead lap.
Coming.
The rain is definitely coming, he said. He hopes.
It's the gamble.
This is big.
Pit road is open as they come by. Don't expect to see Marlin in. Will anybody else come? Craven's going to put the fake on, or is he going to come down?
No, he's not going to come down road.
Well, you got to try. Tony Glover, team manager for Sterling Marlin. I'm sure Lee McCall, the crew chief, is close by too. Nobody in the front-running cars has stopped. Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett, and Rusty Wallace are the only three to come down pit road. So let's take a break with 43 laps to go. Will we get racing again, or will the rain win out? How about it for Sterling Marlin?
Under caution at Michigan in the Pepsi 400 for rain falling. We've already had a very lengthy red flag today. Right now, Sterling Marlin is the leader, and it is raining here at Michigan. Sterling's last win, as Alan mentioned, came in July of '96. That was at Daytona in the Pepsi 400, and that was rain shortened too. Tony Glover, you're his team manager. You're also a weather forecaster, I understand. What's your prediction?
I think in the next 3 to 4 minutes, I think it's going to come a pretty good downpour here in Michigan, and you know, hopefully they'll stop the race, and the Coors Light Dodge will be in victory lane.
Now, the last time you went to victory lane with Sterling Marlin, I believe I saw you doing a rain dance on pit road at Daytona. Was that correct?
I hadn't forgot that.
You practiced that, Tony? You're very good at it.
I haven't forgot it, like I said.
Okay, he's not a man of many words, but many actions, Marty.
Oh, Bill, one guy doing a sunshine dance is Mike Beam, and you think you can beat Sterling if the rain stops, Mike?
Well, we've been pretty good all day. I know Sterling's pretty good. But I saw Glover up there doing his rain dance, so.
You've seen that before?
Oh, yeah, many times, you know, but, yeah, if we've been pretty good. We've been back and forth on the bounce a little bit. You know, I took 2 there and really pumped the tires up there, and it was a handful there for a couple laps, and it come in, but, you know, Ricky, he's done a great job in his Todd Ford. The pit crew's done really well. They worked really hard, but we'll take second if they call it, but, you know, I really hate missing a shot at it. But it's been a great day.
It's starting to rain harder, but you guys would be very happy with second, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm really proud because this is one of our chassis, PPI chassis, you know, and, you know, Dale Watkins and Gary Beveridge, you know, they done a great job on the car and all the fabricators, and I'm really happy for our organization. And we're getting there. You know, won the pole, run second, you know, at the end. So that's definitely not nothing to be ashamed of.
This team coming on strong to Matt Yoakum.
Well, the third crew chief in that mix is Mike Ford, crew chief for Bill Elliott, who currently resides in the 3rd position. Mike, you wanted to see the rain. You didn't want to see the rain. Can you leave here satisfied with 3rd if we don't get restarted?
Well, when you're that close, you're never satisfied unless you're winning. But, you know, it's been a good day. Dodge Dealers and Intrepid RT's been competitive all day long. And, you know, the rain has come. We gambled the last stop with 2 tires for the track position. We've been good on the short run all day. Give up a little bit on the long run. And, you know, the rain just came about 15 laps too late.
Let's go to Dave Burns. Dave?
Well, as it stands right now, Robbie Reiser wouldn't need to pit Matt Kenseth for about 50 or 20 more laps, right?
Yeah, about 20 more laps. We're in pretty good shape here when it comes to that. But the wall floors run good today, and guys have done an awesome job here. We've struggled all season long. This is a real good performance by our whole race team. They all stuck together and looking like it's paying off.
Why do you think you've done so much better today here?
Well, I think that we went back and did our homework a little bit from the spring race. We ran so terrible there, and we've been working on this thing. We've been struggling all year, like I said, and everybody hasn't given up. They've been working at it, and today's a good indication of it's starting to come around.
So are you happy for it to end now, or do you want to give him a few more laps to catch the 32 and the 9 and maybe the 40?
As good as he's running, I like the race. I mean, you know, right now we're kind of middle of our field window, and we got to dodge the weather, so whatever happens, happens. But I'm enjoying racing today.
All right, they're having fun down here. Let's go to Allen.
It's raining.
It's pouring down out there.
And the 40 crew and the rain dance must have paid off. Look at Tony Glover. Man, a few words. He was wound up tight. He wanted this thing called is what he wanted.
The glove got it.
We think. Not official yet.
Well,
some of the fans are hedging their bets. That's Bob Wildberger, one of the motorsports marketing managers for Dodge in the center red shirt. And the man on his right, I believe, is the chief executive officer of Daimler Chrysler, who is visiting from Germany for this race today. Won't that be big?
This will be real big.
The boss is here.
Attaboy, Bob. They're all listening. He could hear better if he put his earphones on, though.
I think he's trying to keep the boss dry and informed. Still some communication going on with the spotters around the track, and Buster Otten, the pace car driver, not reporting good conditions back to the control tower, but we still wait for a determination on what's going to happen here. While we wait, let's take a look at the leaderboard. This is the way things stand with 80 miles to go.
Sterling Marlin started 13, Matt Kenseth 29, Johnny Benson 22nd, Dave Blaney 37. You see a pattern in that top 10? Then it didn't matter where you qualified other than Ricky Craven, the only decent qualifier in the top 10.
Jeff Burton, 16th place. Last one on the lead lap is Rusty Wallace in 17th. Remember, he's down a cylinder at least on his engine.
Stacey Compton back in 21st position. Good run for him today.
John Andretti, Tony Stewart ran out of gas under the green earlier. That caught them behind.
And Ron Hornaday's had an engine problem in the 14 car.
And the big story will be the final 3 guys in the field. Kevin Harvick, Ricky Rudd, and Kurt Busch all out with engine problems. Rudd, second place in the championship coming in, is going to finish in 42nd. no matter what happens with the rest of the outcome on this. Now, if the race is called now, here's what the championship looks like, where the contenders are.
Wow.
And the word is the checkered flag will be displayed when they come back to the start-finish line. This one's over.
And Sterling Marlin has pulled it off. He and Tony Glover, Lee McCall, and an entire Dodge team. Yes.
Word from NASCAR is that with the remaining daylight and the amount of moisture that's falling on the track, there would not be enough time, even if it stopped raining now, to dry the racetrack completely and finish the race's scheduled distance.
Robin Pemberton walking by and give Tony Glover a hug. Crew chief for Rusty Wallace. All right.
Yeah. The Dodge boys are going to get a win. First one since 1977. For Sterling Marlin, 170 races have gone by since he last went to victory lane. It's going to happen here in Michigan today.
Just think, Ricky Craven has never gone to victory lane.
Yeah.
In the 32 car in second spot. But he came close today.
He sure did. Best finish of the season for Craven, a second place run in the Tide Ride. The fans that are still in their seats, on their feet, as Sterling Marlin puts his hand out the window. The somewhat soggy salute at the checkered flag, and Marlin has won a rain-shortened Pepsi 400 at Michigan.
And you will not see any burnouts today.
No. You won't see the smoke from the burnout anyway.
They might spin the tires, but they will not see any smoke. Lee McCall's happy guy, isn't he, Marty?
Always happy, Benny. He was a little teary-eyed earlier. Congratulations. First win as a crew chief, man.
Man, it's, I don't know what to say. This one's for Chip and Felix and Coors Light and Dodge's first win. Just what a great race team. We took 4 tires at the end when a lot of other guys took 2, and, I think that paid off and made some great calls in the pits today. We stuck to our strategy, and again, Chip, this one's for you, buddy, and Felix, thanks for everything.
Was that your call to take 4 tires? Come on now, be honest. It was, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, me and Tony talked about it, and, we there at the end, he said, man, I think we just dropped our pants there. Thought we might have should have took 2, but, again, we were going to take 4 all day long, and we took 4, and again, I think it paid off there on the long run.
All right, guys, he said it wasn't a rain dance, it was a rain shuffle, and I'm sure he would love to do it for us. Lee McCall and the Coors Light team, they go to victory lane.
And I don't think Chip or Felix are here today. So
don't believe
they're missing out on the fun.
Sterling Marlin has put Dodge into victory lane. We talked about it at the top of the program. Was this the day? A lot of folks thought it might be. Dodge has finished 1st, 3rd, 6th, and 10th. So 4 of them in the top 10. Had a couple of Fords in that top 5 with Craven and Kenseth in 2nd and 4th. A Pontiac finished 5th. Top Chevrolet was Jeff Gordon in 7th, Steve Park in 9th. And we look at the final results of the Pepsi 400 at Michigan. Sterling Marlin with his 7th career Winston Cup win. Good to see.
It was terrific. Jimmy Spencer will finish in 11th, Junior in 12th. Go back to Kenny Schrader. We see the 17 cars in the lead lap. Skinner, the first car, 1 lap down. And all the next 21 through 30, all these cars a lap down. Stacy Compton leads the group. Ron Hornaday ends the group.
Race stopped at 324 miles, the 3rd time in 65 races that a Michigan race has been shortened by rain. And now we check the championship standings. 13 races to go in the season. Jeff Gordon's going to gain some more. Ricky Rudd finished 42nd. And Dale Jarrett finished 36th. Marlin closing up on Jarrett and Rudd with his win today.
Look at that, 300 points, man.
And that as we head to Bristol next Saturday night for the Sharpie 500 here on TNT.
But they
no burnouts for Sterling Marlin.
They took the winner back in the garage area because it's a little drier back there to celebrate.
They'll enjoy it a little more back there without standing there under umbrellas.
And Bill Weber, we certainly didn't want Weber to get too. Glover
Marlin has certainly been the Dodge standard bearer in 2001. He's led 15 of the 22 races coming in, 6 top 5s and 11 top 10s. Most folks, including me, seem to think that if a Dodge got to victory lane, he was the leading candidate. He finished 3rd here in June to Jeff Gordon and Ricky Rudd. Today, he's going to get the big trophy and the big check.
Last Indianapolis, he looked strong. I mean, you know, even in practice and everything, and here today, same deal.
Bill Weber's in victory lane, or the temporary victory lane, with Sterling Marlin. Bill?
And Alan, we're going to call it Victory Garage, and it's a big victory for Sterling Marlin, Coors Light, Chip Ganassi, and Dodge. You know this will be a big celebration. Tony Glover and Sterling Marlin are used to celebrating rain-shortened wins, but you can't take them away.
That's what it's all about, Hoodoo.
Tony worked all this out. He knows how to win these rain-shortened ones, doesn't he? That's the last time I talked to you in victory lane at Daytona.
Yeah, I know. Tony really does a great job. Andy Gray, Chip, Felix, all these guys on this team done a great job. And
how about you, Sterling?
Lee McCall, my crew chief. Love them all. We've been real close all year and just need a little break, and finally got it. Thank you, Kyle.
Kyle Petty here. Sterling, it's been a long time for you coming to victory lane. How do you feel?
I just felt like what we had this year, that for the preseason test was really fast, and I knew it was coming, and good as car run. We just couldn't keep running good every week, and something happened, but good Lord looked out for us today.
And you roped in Bill Elliott there.
Yeah, Tony and Lee made a great call and put on 4 tires, and they put on 2, and our car was good on the long run. And Craven was coming, it kept raining. I said, man, I got to call this thing, 'cause it's getting slick. So finally made it.
You remember Daytona, don't you?
Rained in Daytona, so we'll take them.
All right, congratulations.
All right, thanks. Good.
Sterling Marlin and Victory Garage here at Michigan. Back-to-back rain-shortened wins for Sterling Marlin. You might call this the perfect storm.
Congratulations to Sterling, 7th NASCAR Winston Cup Series win. Daytona 1996 is a long time ago. If you missed any of it, NASCAR at noon tomorrow on TNT, our encore presentation of the Pepsi 400 at noon Eastern and Pacific. Friday at 8 Eastern, the Cat Rental Stores NASCAR Busch Series race from Bristol. And next Saturday, the Sharpie 500 from Bristol at 7 Eastern. Lethal Weapon is next. Started with high hopes for Jeff Gordon to try and get a three-peat. Sterling Marlin got the win. For Betty and Wally, I'm Alan Bestwick. See you at Bristol.
This has been a presentation of TNT Sports.